have a code of honor.
Hey! What's up, everybody?
It's comic book day. It's Wednesday. Oh man, guys, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped for today.
This Wednesday is lit.
Why aren't? It is for Zach and me right now.
Oh.
But look at you. If anybody's lit right here,
Yo,
it's
be with the program,
those on the side.
Rob.
You gotta. It's Wednesday comic book day.
There's
Come
like
on.
not even music to dance to, and
It's rocking. It's rocking out up there.
nobody dances to rock like that. That's not a. Oh god.
If you're white and from Arkansas, you do.
I'm not taking.
Hey, I don't need to be
any
from Arkansas to
TwitchCon
dance
after
like this.
parties.
You and I are both not going to TwitchCon after
Yeah,
parties. Are you
yeah,
kidding?
no.
Like, we're the two people that neither would want to go.
I was gonna pretend that I was cool enough to, but.
No, we're too cool to go.
Oh, is that what
That's
it
what we
is?
tell ourselves.
Okay.
We're
Fair
so
enough.
antisocial. We reverse it around. Oh, we're just too cool, man. Like, I'd rather like sit in my hotel and read comic books.
Yeah.
That's the
Actually,
dream.
so at TwitchCon, Malika and I are working at TwitchCon this year, and we're staying in a house with my brother and Dustin and Ryan, the Geek and Sundry crew. We all got one house together with a pool, but it's one studio, so we're all gonna be like sleeping on the floor. But we got it because it was like a studio with a pool. And we're like, worth it.
Worth it. Who needs to sleep when you can swim?
That's amazing, though. My shirt is
So
awesome.
glad they put TwitchCon in San Diego this year instead of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's like already cheaper from last year. Last year it cost me so much more money.
Yay! So, welcome everyone to Graphic
Hello.
Content. We are going to start today with a live reading. Our first time here on Hyper RPG. Now, you guys know if you've been following me for a while, we used to do this all the time. Holy shit!
Bronze, Zach, Scott, you are all awesome. Thank you for all the effort and passion you put into the channel.
Aww.
Thank you for thinking this takes effort.
Fuck you!
It does.
What?
It does.
I'm not speaking for you. I just fucking read comic books and talk about them.
Normally I don't wake up until like 3 p.m., but on Wednesdays I wake up at like 9 a.m. and
Go
then,
by the comic book shop.
Yeah, and try to read them all before I get here and then
Wow.
stress out when I can't.
Really?
Yeah. Well, mostly because like I usually read while my significant other drives, and I get car sick, but then I have to read, and I'm just like, no. If I was people like if I had a superpower, it'd be teleportation. I'm like, if I had a superpower, it'd be reading in a moving car, because I'm usually just like, okay, I'm not gonna throw up. I can read this. I can do it. I can get through.
It's another reason I like tablets.
Oh, do you not get car sick when you read?
I zoom in and I can kind of like focus on it better.
That makes
Distance.
sense.
I also like tablets because I can read so much faster, and I have so many books to read. But like at night, I prefer being able to just toot. Whereas when I'm trying to read it, because I always read comics when I'm about to go to sleep, and I'll like roll over on one side and I'll have my tablet and I'll just sit there and go until my eyes finally go down. When I have a book, I can't like get comfortable and without damaging the book.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to sit up in the bed, and it's a much more formal experience, which is fine sometimes. But I actually like the tablet for speed and efficiency.
Yeah. When I was
I'm
about
bougie
efficiency.
about it. I actually wear my silk pajamas and I pour myself a glass of wine and then I sit in bed and that's how I read my comics. I'm not making that up. That's real.
I just have a big ass stack next to my couch, and whenever I have time, I take a comic off of it and read it. Whenever there's a minute, and there's usually not, so it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I do.
But on Wednesday mornings, I still
I
binge.
still have books on this rack back here that I haven't read yet. That upsets me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's still books back there that I'm like, ugh.
My problem
Did
is-
I ever show you guys this though? Oh my god, I just saw it and I was like, oh, I have to rub it in your face.
Little bastards.
Yeah, but.
What?
Oh. For Zach, thanks for reading.
That's kind of cool.
That's Jason Aaron. Okay.
Yeah.
Bronze knows how to live. I think I do. Yeah.
Nobody else.
I may or may not be working on a series of YouTube videos called Comic Books and Bourbon, where I drink a shit ton of bourbon and get shit-faced. And it's a thing. By a fireplace.
I'm a little offended.
And,
I wasn't
just,
invited. That sounds like so
and
much
just,
fun.
Just shit bullshit about comics. What?
Hashtag Neonite wants you to know that I have totally been sucked into Archer and Armstrong.
Good.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Us too.
Because that is what we're reading today. We're going to
Yes.
be reading Archer and Armstrong #1 by Fred Van Linte. I just found out today when I was doing a little research on him that he's from Tacoma.
No way.
Yeah, he's Tacoma.
How about that?
I was trying to figure out if he still lived here. I couldn't find that out. I was trying to be a little bit
We
of a
could
snooper.
always like stalk him.
Yeah, might have to stalk him, see if he still lives
Probably
up there
should.
and try to have him come by the show. But another thing is, like, as I was doing my research, I saw a tweet that he sent out to Valiant where somebody asked, when can we get a Neela the Time Walker? And he was like, I don't know, if you bug Dinesh in Valiant Comics enough, maybe it'll happen. So I immediately tweeted,
Dinesh, hey dude, come on, let's
yo,
go.
where's the Neela fans at? Let's do it.
Where's our Time Walker
And then
follow-up?
He tweeted right back like, let's storm the gates of Valiant, like demanding Neela. So now you all know what to do. Find that tweet and I'll jump on board.
Yeah.
We'll get that Neela the Time Walker book that I want so bad. Seriously though, they left it in such a way I was like, you got to.
Right?
Come on. And the fact that I know now that he wants to do it, let's do it.
Let's go back.
And I realized today that, okay, so Fred used to do a lot of work for Marvel back in the day. He wrote a couple Spider-Man books. He did a lot of Deadpool, Marvel Zombies, a lot of the fun, quippy Marvel books.
Yeah, it was his work on with Amadeus Cho and Hulk and Hercules in Hulk that got him Archer and Armstrong.
Right. So then he went to start working for Valiant, and it's been a lot. Like he's been focusing more on single books now, whereas when he was at Marvel, it was a typical Marvel thing.
Yeah.
They had him on 5 books at once. So he did Archer and Armstrong, and then he did Ivar the Time Walker. Now he's still on Archer and Armstrong, the new A&A. So we are going to
Plus
be
Generation Zero now.
and Generation Zero.
Which I really
Which
like.
is sweet.
Yeah,
I'm
it's pretty
really
good.
into that.
So we're gonna be reading Archer and Armstrong #1. Bronze will be playing Armstrong. I'll be playing Ivar. Scott will be our narrator. And Scott will also be playing
I'll
as
be Archer, yeah.
And those are the bigger characters. You're gonna have a really fun moment when we get to the conversation between. There's a lot of fun stuff. You guys are
I
gonna
will
have
try
a
to
lot of back
lower
and
my
forth.
voice several octaves.
You gotta
I'll
get that
do the opposite.
big drunk
I know.
poet.
I'm gonna try it.
Get that big drunk poet out.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are ready, we can kind of we gotta get into
Yes.
our theater.
Yes.
Theater. I'm not gonna be Mary Maria today. I know that you all were probably expecting me to. We tried to gender swap as much as possible back when we used to do this on the pool. A good time. Good time until it becomes offensive. But for the most part, it's a good time.
Right.
Oh.
But with comic books, it's difficult when you have more men than women.
Yes, you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
First, let's start by saying how sweet this cover is.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting about this cover, Malika says you're not an actor, Zach. Thank you. I'm sorry, I wasn't in Iron Man 3.
Gauntlet has been thrown.
Sorry that you're not Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, for readings, #comics, #Sador-Crub.
Yeah.
All right. So, what I thought was really interesting.
Now you can be an Iron Man.
Oh, look, I have as much of a part in Iron Man 3 as Malika did. I'm the suit.
Now you're an actor. Good job.
Oh wow! That really caught.
Yeah, it makes noise.
I'm really happy. That's pretty cool. I kind of want one of those. I may or may not have Hulk hands that I own.
Nice.
Kind of wish I brought them.
Hulk hands are classic.
Could have just tried to swipe.
It looks like the numbers on all the cameras are wrong because we have no idea which camera is live at any given moment.
No,
All right.
but it's okay.
So the first thing I thought was really cool, and I'm not taking this off, about it's so uncomfortable about this cover was that it tried to kind of link Archer and Armstrong from the 90s to now. So this was part of the 2012 relaunch.
Isn't
Yeah.
that like
And it
made
was
for
like-
children?
Yes.
So that's probably not.
It's
very
cutting
good.
into my
Oh
mouth.
god.
This was like the third or fourth book they put out too. It was really early in like
Really
the
early.
New
in
Valiant
the
universe.
relaunch, really early. And the style of the cover, they moved away from pretty quickly, but it was like a cool way to kind of like give the new look with the new PRS agents, the new look of Archer, who wasn't always like, he used to look more like a old man, kind of.
Yeah, he wasn't quite the like
weird.
the teenager he is.
Yeah. So it was like a new look, but with the same kind of art style from the 90s, so that was a good introduction. So, shall we begin?
Yes.
I'm ready.
All right. Oh, first we got that cool cover of
I was
Bloodshot
gonna
number
say.
2, which is dope.
Yeah, that's awesome.
2012, guys, back in the day.
The day. I love reading old comics. Not just to, but when I read old comics, I love seeing the ads and like it puts it into the context of the comic book universe at the time. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, Bloodshot. You know, didn't know that he was Bloodshot yet.
You're obsessed with
What?
the nipples?
They're so strange.
It's a good thing we have Hyper RPG quotes.
Far apart.
Yeah, they are rather far apart.
Right?
I mean, he's kind of like putting his arms are
Right,
behind
but
himself, so
they're
he's kind of
still
like he's. It seems anatomically correct because of the way he's like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
they're
like
still-
pulling him out.
back.
It's like the nanites are like pulling him down.
Yeah. He could put.
Yeah.
What I like,
He's a
though,
shapeshifter.
Is he could
do
put
whatever
those
he wants.
nipples anywhere he wants.
Right? He could have as many nipples as he needs at any point in
I
time.
know, but I can still be
That's the
weirded-
beauty of Bloodshot.
That's the beauty of Bloodshot. Let's get a 4-nipple Bloodshot.
Yeah.
Valiant. That would be great.
Come on, Jeff Lemire. What's taking you so
I
long?
can
You gave us
still
blood
be
squirt. You can give us extra nipples.
mesmerized by them. I didn't say it was bad or good. I just said I was enamored with them. That's all I said. I wasn't nipple shaming him.
All right. Page number 1.
Ancient Mesopotamia, before the Great Cataclysm. It's Tuesday.
Gilad would not want this brother. He was always the most noble of we three.
So he was, Aram. He was the youngest. That was his prerogative. And look at where it got him. I am eldest. I must make the difficult choices, and I have decided. We will use the boon to revive him.
And kill? Get your damn hands off me. Kill how many more in the process?
How many lives has Gilad saved in defense of this city? He died bringing back that infernal thing for king and country. The old tyrant should have known better than to keep us from using it.
Ivar, listen to me. This isn't like you. Grief has curdled your mind. I miss Gilad too, more than anything. But we don't know what will happen when we turn it on, or if it even works on humans.
Ah, Aram. I'm so much smarter than you. That's always been your problem, hasn't it? You have no faith. People of your heroes, the Anipara, have returned triumphant from the faraway and brought back its boon. Must eternal life be for gods alone? I say...
No!
Fuck him up!
I was waiting for the death sound. Ivar, stop!
Too late, brother. Too...
And all flesh died that moved upon the earth. Birds, cattle, beasts, all swarming creatures that swarm upon the earth, and every man, everything on this dry land on whose nostrils was the breath of life, died. He blotted out every living thing that was upon the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the air. They were blotted out from the earth. Genesis chapter 7, verses 21, 22, and 23. Today.
Change the page, you son of a bitch.
Today.
It's still you.
And so the Lord destroyed the wicked, sinning cultures of ancient times, Egypt, the Mayans, who refused to hear the holy word. Do you think America is safe from his wrath just because we had the HD and the iPod.com? Think again!
Rush, come on. Move your fanny.
No! I want to ride the dinosaurs like they did in caveman times.
I said we're going to the food court and that's final. Your daddy's got to raise his blood sugar.
This is Adams County, Ohio, 10,000 years later, still on a Tuesday.
No offense to anyone from Ohio, accurate description of...
You can do the educational rides after second lunch.
Reverend and Mrs. Congresswoman Archer wish everyone a blessed day and welcome you to the Promised Land Supervised Fun Center and Learning Park. 3 o'clock in the Good News Theater, Darwin the Chimp stars in Junk Science Follies.
Are you ready, son?
I am, Father.
Good. This is your final test. You're going down, Obadiah. The holy mission's gonna be mine.
I wish it could, Jean-Paul.
Do you want to read that little text right there for him?
Savate, a.k.a. boxe française, or whatever, is a traditional French martial art that mixes Western boxing techniques with powerful, graceful kicks. But you're just not good enough. Whack! Or you, Mary Maria. Capoeira is a martial art/dance style invented by the descendants of African slaves in Brazil. Krav Maga is a self-defense system developed by the Israeli Defense Forces. Forgive me, Jacob. Taekwondo is a national sport of South Korea and means the way of the hand and foot. Kim, Dae, if only there was another way.
Dude, that split kick, though.
Yeah. Crack, whack!
I am overcome, our darling boy. You were born special. We always knew that.
Ever since you were little, if you saw something, you could do it.
We believed in our heart of hearts you were chosen to complete the sacred plan of your order, the Dominion. And now you have proven it.
Tell me what the mission is, Father. I want that more than anything.
The man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped.
So it is written. The Dominion teaches that Earth cannot become paradise until he who is not to be named is destroyed. You will smite him with the sword of the righteous, Obadiah.
Where is he, Father? Tell me!
Our agents have found him on the festering isle of corruption and criminality.
New York?
I am afraid so, my boy, and you will track him with this.
Normal parents. Totally normal high school
Totally
experience.
so over. Yeah, so we gotta go fight Voldemort now. Well, guess this is it. I'm gonna miss every last single one of you. I don't think of you as foster brothers and sisters. You're my real family. Duffy, Kofi, T-Bone, Kim, little Jakey, Svetlana, Johan, Crystal, Iskander, Jean-Paul, Mercedes, Dinesh, Suri, Day, Big Jacob, Rivka,
Be careful out there, we'll be praying for you.
Bort, Tsuyoshi, Spyros, Barry,
We're glad it was you.
and you, Mary Maria. You all write every day.
You'd better, and I'll write when I can. Mom and Dad have plans for me, and they're extensive.
You're the only one of us who's been outside. Any advice?
You mean when I ran away? You don't have to use euphemisms, Obi, especially not now. Just remember, the world is a lot stranger than you think.
Want me to bring you back anything?
No, don't be weak like I was. I had my chance. I got out. But the world scared me, so I ran back with my tail between my legs. You mean everything to me, Obi. So promise me, when you leave this place, you'll never come back.
You all feel that brother-sister sexual tension?
But
It's there.
so wait, is this Harry Potter or is this Star Wars? We got Voldemort, but we also got brothers and sisters.
It's both.
It's both. But
Here's something to take with you to remember me by. It's not much, but it's all I've got.
goodbye.
Can you give that to me one more time with just a little bit more sadness in your heart?
But I did. I said it's all I've got.
There you go. There it is.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Dinosaur Flo. Cave Woman Andy. See you when I see ya.
I like that.
It's been real.
Creationist Museum. It's been real.
I love the Creationist Museum. Dear Mary Maria, see, I'm already putting your journal to good use. If I fail in my quest, and you, or any of our other brothers and sisters must step up to replace me, you will have the benefits of my experience, and will know beforehand the strange sights and sounds and smells of the outside world. Particularly the smells, for they are nasty. Mom and Pop always taught us Manhattan is a rat's nest of liberal Marxist atheist Nazis who want to rob us of our freedom by making us dependent on government handouts. And that is 100% true. But in many ways, it's also a lot like home. After all, we did grow up in an amusement park.
It's that New York's like an amusement park. No different than having dinosaurs and cults.
The difference is the New Yorkers have no idea how to enjoy what they have. Always rushing this way and that, only looking up from their screens long enough to avoid contact with another person. Everything is drenched in sex, and I do mean everything. But it's just another commodity to be acquired, drained, and then discarded. They want to matter so badly They want their desperate neediness on their sleeves.
Yep, they put the nudist cowboy in the book.
Is there. People have forgotten how to open their eyes and see that God has already given them all that they could desire. Even in this capital of earthly pride, where everything around me has been fashioned by the sinful hand of man, I am confronted by and astonished by beauty. The world truly is a wonderful place, and I give thanks for it every day.
Naive little son of a bitch.
I love Archer. The sacred artifact Mom and Dad gave me glowed ever brighter as I explored what the locals call the meatpacking district. Before one slaughterhouse of morals, it began to burn my hand like the eternal fire. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Is that me? Go on, Bruce, lay off. For the last time, I'm not gonna do it.
Come on, babe, it's tradition.
Don't babe me. I paid $60 for this bra at the Victoria's Secret. I'm not stapling it to the frickin' bar.
I'll buy you another one, baby. Who knows? When the Sons of Perdition will make it to the Big Apple again.
I said no. Let go or I'll knock your teeth out.
Whack! Get behind me! You're safe for the moment, ma'am, but you should go home to your father or husband before things get out of hand.
Why, you piece of... I look old enough to be a ma'am to you. I'm gonna beep you in your beep with your own beep.
Crack!
SOP, get some! The Sons of Perdition. Yeah.
Hey, Melissa, my two new best...
Oh, no, back that up.
Wait, what?
Back that up. That's your Armstrong. You gotta... Come on, bring that bravado.
Oh.
We're not in Mesopotamia anymore. You've been drinking for thousands of years.
Okay, listen. I just switched from a fat, like...
Now just bring...
Drunk lady.
It's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
Just change the accent a little bit.
Hey, Melissa, my two new best friends have offered up 2 more trophies for...
I'll go for it. Armstrong, we got a scene you gotta squash before it becomes a situation.
Melissa, Mater Sava Cupidinum, forbear, cruel mother of soft desires.
No more poetry. You're the bouncer. Bounce or you're permanently cut off.
Well, when you put it that way, the single fist lifted and ready, or the open asking hand held out and waiting. Choose, for we meet by one.
Can we just say how they definitely... I love how when you're drawing Armstrong, he goes from simultaneously fat slob to really epic,
giant
strong,
badass.
massive man.
Hero. Yep, I agree. Choose, for we meet by one or the other. Carl Sandburg first read that to me in a tavern on North Hermitage the night the Red Sox won the 8th game of the World Series against the New York Baseball Giants. Know what I said when I heard it?
Technical knockout.
Nah, that's not it. You think of it. Can you remind me? Stood up way too quick. Woo!
Thanks for coming to my aid, mister.
They call me Armstrong these days, kid.
I am Obadiah Archer, quite an accomplished martial artist, I swear, Mr. Armstrong. Had the assailant been male, she could not have surprised me like that, but I have sworn never to strike an innocent lady.
If you decked that chick, your record would have remained spotless. Her track marks had stretch marks.
What?
I'm gonna take a wild guess you're not from around these parts.
No, I have been trained since birth to find and slay.
Whoa! How'd you get that, kid?
What? You're he!
Let me explain a thing or two to you.
You taught me your name! How dare you! You are not to be named!
Look, I'm too strong, Archer. You can't hurt me, and I can't hit you.
Ha!
Great.
Crash it.
No, mother, father, I cannot. I will not fail.
Oh, who are those
shit!
dudes? Who are those? We know who they are, but you don't. In this part of the story.
Hey, Archer! Archer! You still alive?
Where?
My guess? Federal Hall on Wall Street.
Oh, hold on. Back up a little bit. I love that line because they open up in a dungeon. All you see is him chained to a wall, and they're on the floor. Where are we? My guess, Federal Hall on Wall Street.
Yeah.
Boom.
I've been locked up here a few times over the centuries. Like when Washington gave his first inaugural address to the rest of his fellow sect members on the balcony up there. Man, they had some bitchin' parties that weekend.
What? What are you saying? The Founding Fathers were heroes, not members of any sect.
Ha! You're greener than grass! What do you think the Freemasons are? Washington, Franklin, that whole bunch were members. It's the same sect you work for and that captured us. Your employer screwed you over, kid.
Shut up! Stop trying to confuse me with flipping bullcorn! I do not work for any sect. I am on a holy mission. I could kill you now while you're helpless. But I won't.
Much obliged, but killing me is harder than it looks. The sect's been trying for almost 10,000 years. The boon, that's what they're after. It's a piece of that damn machine. I hid what was left of it after it ended the world that came before this one, so nobody could ever use it again. The sect's overtaken every sacred Sorry, I'm gonna try that again. The sect's taken over every secret society in the world trying to get their mitts on it. That doohickey you used to find me, that's its fulcrum. And if your buddies have it, that's bad news for everybody. You listen to a word I've said?
Of course not. Lockpicking is the skill of manipulating the components of a lock device without the original key. You are the Prince of Lies.
Nice! Where'd you pick up the larceny?
I have been expertly homeschooled, sir.
Uh-huh. You maybe want to come homeschool me out of...
No way, Jose. You are staying here. I am going to find out what is going on. Then I'm going to come back here, and then I'm going to kill you.
Thanks for following.
Thank you for the follow.
Whoa. I'm having, difficulty getting to this page. It keeps skipping between it. Ha!
Yeah.
Thank you. You're making a big mistake, Archer. The world is a lot stranger than you think. You need a guy like me, who's been around, to show you the ropes. Archer!
Whack! Crack!
Dude. This is just flipping bullcorn, that's what this is. We're all one sect. We're supposed to be working as a team. Obi was the Dominion sacrifice, our prodigal son sent to distract or destroy Aram Anipata so we could then assemble the boon together. My apologies, Reverend Congresswoman. But the 1% enacts the will of Demon Mammon on Earth. And our Dark Lord Mammon holds one golden truth above all. Greed is not just good. Greed is godly. We inherited this plane the Masons held for centuries. Thanks to your son, we now possess the fulcrum. No, wait! Just 4 pieces and the entire boon will be ours. It is central to our plans to stabilize the euro by blowing up Greece. No, you can keep the boy. He's a failure. Useless to us now. Just give us back the fulcrum.
Mother. Father. No. Next.
Shit.
Down with the 1%.
Lower the mask and let's get down to business.
What? What just happened?
Sneak preview.
Sneak preview.
Exo Manowar number 5. Enter Ninja.
Ah, the introduction of Ninja.
We won't read that.
We're not
but
going to
it's
read
pretty
that,
cool.
but Exo Manowar is awesome.
Alright guys, that was our live reading of Archer and Armstrong number 1. What'd you guys think of the book?
I'm
Oh,
stuck
man.
on the lower the mask and let's get down to business. I'm like, that's like a bad porno or something. Like, what does that mean?
What does it even mean? So what'd you guys think of the book?
I love it.
I love that issue. It's such a great way of setting up a team, you know?
Yeah.
And like they don't waste any time, because Footavanti knows you're reading a book called Archer and Armstrong. He's not going to pretend like they're not going to team up. But at the same time, he still subverts the whole, these two are just, buddies, and it's going to be a buddy cop thing, without, wasting time and trying to, pretend like it's not going to be the book it is.
Right.
I love the dichotomy between them because you see this so weird. Like they're literally like hanging up from on top of the bar or whatever, and it's like virtue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of sets it up like this is where Armstrong hangs out, and he's gonna be teamed up with this kid who is so ridiculously sheltered.
Yeah, nothing will go wrong in that situation.
I love where Archer comes from, because this weird Christian Science cult thing that is like has this basically an amusement park of misinformation that he was raised by, and so it really well sets up like we first learn this is the place where they teach people that cavemen and dinosaurs lived together. And then we learn this is the place that taught Archer that he has to kill this guy and that he is good and that this guy is bad. And so it very easily sets up that Archer is after the wrong guy. But if you don't pick up on that parallel, it really feels like Archer is on a just, crusade, Until, of course, we meet Armstrong and we find out that he's just a bouncer.
It's pretty cool. I like that book a lot.
Love that book.
I like that it sets up so many things. I like the little bit with Mary Maria, and like her track kind of gets started right then and there, her own personal journey. Can you take me seriously right now? Perfect. So it's one of my favorite of the Valiant kind of like relaunch books. It's fun, it's lighthearted, it's got great character dynamics. Like Archer and Armstrong are the buddy cop team.
Yeah.
Like they're such a fun pair. If you guys really enjoyed it, you can, if you scroll down on our page, if you just reload and scroll down, if you've had it open for a while, click on the Valiant tab. That will take you to the Amazon store where you can pick up Volume 1 of Archer and Armstrong or the Deluxe Edition, which is super rad, and it's really, really cool. And that will actually kick back some to us. That's our affiliate link there. It's pretty rad.
Yeah.
So you just click on that Valiant thing. What?
No, it didn't say anything. Oh. All right.
Multiple
Are you
options.
sure it's not for porn? Let's see what this thing can do.
What reason would Tony Stark ever have to say, let's see what this thing can do? Didn't he design the damn suit? Are there any surprises for Tony when he's flying? Oh.
Sorry, guys. I'm letting things off in here. My bad.
Okay.
We're gonna go through all the options.
I am Iron Man.
Okay.
That's a pretty good one. That's a good.
Oh, I just took off.
This is why you weren't invited to join Team Ironbeard.
Iron Man Mark 46. Powering up.
I think we loop back around. I think we just loop back around. I think we finally loop back around.
I'm taking fire. Shield up.
No, that was another.
That was a new one.
Man,
That's fancy. There's a lot in there.
if I was a kid, what am I kidding? I love this now.
Lower the mask and let's get down to business.
See, there's two that are kind of pointy.
All right.
Lower the mask and let's get down to business.
pretty great.
And
pretty
of
great.
course, let's see what this thing can do. It's
pretty
Both
great.
of these are kind of strange to be on an Iron Man mask.
So thank you guys for joining us on that live reading journey. We'll be doing that every week now at 1 p.m. Join us for live readings of some of our favorite books. And, hey! Somebody just bought the Humble Jumbo Bundle
Nice.
with our link. Thank you for that. So we also have a new partnership with Humble Bundle, which is really cool. So we have links that you can click through to purchase the Humble Bundle where you can actually give some of the portions to Hyper RPG and to the Halo Foundation, a charity that we work with a lot.
Awesome.
It's
Sir
really
Lucian,
fucking
thank you
cool.
for the resub.
All sorts of cool stuff. We're like a real company now. We've got affiliate links and partnerships and Iron Man masks.
Production value.
Yeah.
Production value. And we got that sweet Vanquish poster. in the
That
background.
poster now? Sweet. I'm gonna steal that shit.
I look so angsty.
You kind of wait. You do? I don't know if that's angsty. More like I see a calm confidence there.
Oh yeah.
A little bit like, or like a false sense of bravado.
A false sense of bravado. There's literally electronics floating around my head.
Speaking of which, we will be getting to our Vanquished recap after the news, right?
Yeah, we'll do the news first. There's a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to have a lot of fun going over stuff. So
it's a good Wednesday for comics.
This is the first graphic content that is now longer. So for those turning in and you like comic books, congratulations. We're going to keep this going for an extra hour today, which is great.
Because usually at 2:30, we're like, shit, we still have like 14 books we want to talk about. So.
Oh, show us the poster. I assumed whenever I said look at the poster, the camera would actually switch to it, but it didn't, so nobody's paying attention. We'll do that whole bit over again. Check out that awesome poster.
Yeah, that's the fan art. Cool? That's our not fan art. Man. That's the official cover for Volume 2.
That's pretty rad.
Of Vanquished. Right there, looks good, right? Right? Yeah.
Graphic content, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Yeah.
There we go. So, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. It's been a really big day for comic books. Let me get this out of the way. Little baby there. We've got Civil War II number 5, which all three of us read, and we'll have our opinions on. Yes. We'll throw the spoilers up on the screen when we do that later. We're going to talk about some amazing books that came out today. Britannica number 1 came out.
Yes.
7 to Eternity came out, number 1. What were some other... We had a new Vision this week, which is
Raven,
always a treat.
Raven
number 1.
We got a bunch of number 1s. We got some new storylines began in DC, right? The Green Lantern started a new storyline. The Batman Night of the Monster Men crossover began. And then Justice League finished their first storyline, which is a lot prettier than it was good. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Trinity number 1 came out. I haven't read it yet, but this is going to be the prettiest book today. I can already tell you that, because it's Francis Manapul, and he's just gorgeous. Right. Yeah. Lots of good stuff.
Guys in the chat room and ladies, yes, there was new International Iron Man, and unfortunately neither one of us read it. Ran out of time.
There's too many books today.
Lots of books.
And Britannia's like 8 books worth of books.
Yeah, Britannia was dense.
8 books worth
Yeah,
of
so
books.
was 7 to Eternity, actually.
Yeah,
Pretty
it
dense,
was.
too. It was a long...
Yeah, I got Rick Remender and Peter Milligan to wade through. Can't
lots of shit.
Can't get through all of it.
Lots of shit. Yeah, it's a thick one, and lots of lore. Right? Those character designs, though?
Sketchbook.
We'll get into that.
We'll
get into that.
Oh, cutie pie.
All right, but first, we got to talk about this first news story because...
We definitely need to open the door, too, and get some airflow in here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Why don't we grab that door? Perfect. Let's get some air in here. All right. So, starting off, we're going to talk about some news and some different things that are going. Oh, thanks, Rai Rai. Just waving.
You guys can't see off camera. Rai Rai has a frond. He's Rai Rai the frond guy. Oh.
There you go.
I like
really good.
I like your form for that. It's like you've done it before.
Oh yeah, I have.
Handmaiden.
I
Right?
think you were my first handmaiden gig.
That's actually why Zach hired Rai Rai. Was
Yes, it's his handmaiden skills.
He was Zach's handmaiden before he was Rai Rai the handmaiden guy here at Hyper RPG.
Rai Rai the handmaiden guy. So we're going to go on to some news. I'm sure some of you may have seen this.
Yeah.
Floating around on Twitter and stuff like that. But Valiant is going to be doing an entire collection of cat variant covers.
Marvel has in the past done these cosplay variant covers where they have pictures of cosplayers as variant covers. And Valiant has decided they want to do that, but with cats instead. So we've got,
The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I applaud them understanding the internet, but I will not be picking any of them up. It's it's like one of those things where I'm like, well done.
Yeah, I mean that's how I feel about the cosplay.
Will buy this.
So about the cosplay covers in general, like I think it's great, I think it's cute, and I understand why people want to do it.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm gonna get a variant
Britannia's
cover, I want
awesome.
somebody to draw it. All right, let's see if we can get these up on the screen so that everybody can see them.
They're up.
I mean, I think
I don't think
that
they are.
Oh, they're not?
They're not.
Oh, yeah. What's up here? We're showing images. Come on, get with the program. We're showing it.
There
There's
we go.
Britannia. So up here is Archer and Armstrong.
All right, we got that one.
I like.
I like the little
Britannia.
crossbow that
I didn't
Armstrong's
think I
got.
was gonna get one, and then
Archer.
I saw Britannia, and I'm like, that I might have.
That
to
looks
get,
pretty sweet.
'cause That cat looks majestic as fuck.
Can you name all the characters up on the screen here? We've got, we've got our Ninjak. We've got just a PRS.
That could be Livewire, actually.
No, Livewire is right there.
Oh, no, yeah, she is.
It's just going to be like one of the hardcore members.
Oh, that's what it is. That's hardcore.
Who is this? I don't know who this is.
It's a little far away.
It's like a little cape. And I mean, I'm guessing these are Harbinger or... Like, it looks like a little Harbinger shirt. Obviously, Eternal Warrior.
Eternal Warrior.
Money.
Hey, a Humble Bundle purchase.
Nice.
Woo! We've got this cat here I don't. I'm not. That looks like Armstrong, but no, that's gonna be Torque. It's like the Harbinger
That's
hat.
definitely Torque.
That. Some of these are tough. I mean,
That's.
Mambo,
I think it's Faith on the
obviously.
bottom,
Yeah,
being
we've got
adorable.
Exo Manowar, Faith, Rye, Divinity. This looks like what's her name from Harbinger? Peters.
Oh yeah, Chris Hall.
Archer.
That's supposed to be Shadow. That's Shadow Man. Yeah.
And then Punk Mambo.
Punk Mambo.
Nice.
Nice.
Somebody said, "Oh my, OMG, the Divinity cat."
I'm very disappointed that there's
oh
no
my
Quantum
God.
and Woody cat. Oh my God, it's so good.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Ah, man.
Are you, is this upsetting
Savage.
It's not upsetting me. I get it. I completely get it and know that it will work.
you? You just take it too seriously. Oh my God, Ninja Cat!
Oh yeah, the one licking his junk is Woody. Okay,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like Ninja cat. I think
Oh my gosh.
that Harbinger jacket and made just for a cat. It's awesome.
Who made? Aww.
Generation Zero, nice.
I think the next. No, it's not.
Okay,
The next one's the best one. I'm pretty certain.
Faith is pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, I love this Divinity cat. I think it's the hood that makes it hilarious.
What
to me.
I hope is that it was all the people who work in the office as cats. Like,
Yeah.
I hope it was one of those things where it's just all the people in the office hiring a photographer for
Right.
their cats.
Yeah.
And not like going outsourced to someone
I love
else.
that cat's face because that cat looks like he's just not happy.
Yeah, that cat is like, what's on me? What's around me? What's going on?
All right, and then we've got
And we've got
Bloodshot.
the bloodshot cat. that cat
was
knows.
savage.
That cat knows he's cosplaying Bloodshot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That cat's doing a Bloodshot face.
Oh my god.
That cat's just like, you fucking what, mate? I'll wreck you, mate. 1v1 in Orlando. That's what that cat's saying right now.
Bob says he's with me. My reaction is just well played, Valiant. Well played. Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
how I feel.
These were fun to look at on the internet.
Right.
I don't think I want them in my collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
You
I'm
can,
gonna-
you can go back full screen on us now, Laura. Typically, once we're done talking, go full screen on us, and then we'll go back to the next article so we don't see the changeover. All right, so let's get out of here. Our next little piece of news, it looks like, is going to be
Yeah, more with the part of this news. The variant covers came out because the solicitations for December for Valiant came out, and so like most solicitations, it's the books continue, and you can see kind of some spoilers if you go to them. But this is new, the spin-off of Divinity 3 that has been announced, Commander Bloodshot #1.
which is pretty cool. So yeah, solicitations. I got a big email about that yesterday, I think. So Divinity 3 in December. Divinity 3 #1 Stalinverse comes out in December, and this is now part of that initiative, which is a super badass cover. Yeah. Like a really dope cover. And is Jeff Lemire? Jeff Lemire's still writing it, right?
I'm pretty certain.
Let's see here. We can go up here. Yep, Jeff Lemire, drawn by Clayton Crane.
Excellent.
Covers by Crane, Ryan Bodenheim, Greg Smallwood, Trevor Harrison, and Kano.
Nice.
I'm guessing. So what this lets us know, though, is there's probably going to be more #1s.
Yeah, I think that we're
feel
gonna
like this is
see.
just a sign.
Because we know how powerful Divinity is. It might be that like we know that, and this Divinity 3 is Stalinverse, right? There's going to be, and even the promo images, we've seen this Russian bloodshot. We've seen the Rye with the Russian symbol on him, and so yeah, I feel like we're gonna see spin-offs. I'm really excited to see how this is all gonna end. You know, because when the universe shifts and then goes back, you know, at the end of House of M, there's all kind of that shit we got to deal with. House of Divinity. Or
Oh
House
my
of
gosh. So there's some more variants on here
yeah.
that are pretty dope.
Oh man, that's
Like-
so sweet.
Super cool.
Oh, I like that one.
Stalinverse.
Oh man, the Mount Rushmore. Oh, that's so sweet.
So I got to see some preview pages from this book, and it's pretty dope. So it's basically there's like riots in the streets and stuff. You can't really tell what city it's in. It might be in a U.S. city, but it's occupied by Russian forces, and Bloodshot just kind of like drops in and everyone scatters, and there's this cool top-down view of everyone running away.
Nice.
And they're like baiting him and leading him into under this little bridge in a kind of like under a sidewalk kind of thing. And he goes in and he notices that there's like an explosive trap, and then he steps on it anyway, and the bombs just go off all around him, and it's just like a bunch of dust and smoke, and then the image is them kind of like going in to make sure that he's dead, and then they cut it off right there in the preview, and I'm like, he's gonna like...
Yeah, the next page is just Bloodshot murdering all those fucking people.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
They set themselves directly in
Cool
the
guys
center
are
of
in
them.
the explosions, yeah. And they don't give a fuck afterwards.
Yeah. Hey, another Humble Bundle purchase. That is rad. That is super rad. Thank you for that. All of that really helps us, so thank you so much. So it's super cool. I like that immediately. You're just like, oh, such a cool way to set up, you know.
Yeah. It's really
they kind of like, they called him something in the preview book. I can't remember.
Commander?
No, it was like he was like their destroyer or something like that. Like the rebels had a name for him, but
not necessarily Blood. Oh, the Rebels have a different name for him, not Bloodshot. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. They had a name for him.
T-1000.
All right, so our next news story that we're going to talk about is, so our good friend Mark Andreyko actually is kind of the lead on this.
Yeah, this is a really cool project that is going to be coming out soon.
So if you want to go ahead and start talking about it, I'll pull up the email.
Yeah, so there's a benefit comic that's coming out basically that Mark Andreyko is kind of the leader behind, and it's to benefit the victims of the Pulse shooting, and it's to support the LGBT community and whatnot. And what's really neat about it is there's a bunch of great creators that have come onto it, and they were all asked to just do a one-page story. So they're all 1 or 2 page stories. And Andreyko said that he asked, it was such a small ask because he wanted as many people as possible to be involved. And so basically everybody's going to be involved in this. I'm going to read through this list we've got right now, which is not necessarily all of them. Phil Jimenez, Steve Sadowski, Paul Jenkins, Mike Carey, Matt Wagner, Marguerite Bennett, Aneke, Damon Lindelof, Patton Oswalt, Steve Orlando, Rafa Albuquerque, Jason Aaron, Jason Latour, James Asmus, Ming Doyle, James Tynan IV, Cecil Castellucci, Brandon Peterson, Jesus Saiz, Olivier Coppel, Lionel Yu, Elsa Curatier, I don't know that name, damn it, Kat Staggs, Steve Orlando, Brian Michael Bendis, Emma Vaselli, Kieran Gillen, Dennis Cohen, Paul Dini, Ming Doyle again, Ed Lucy, and Jay Edidin.
Yeah, lots and lots of people. I actually remember when I'm friends with Mark on Facebook, and when he put out his call, like it was kind of like a Facebook call. Hey! Money. Thank you for that. Very much appreciated. He kind of put out a call on Facebook for all his friends saying, like, and it was probably 2 days after it happened, and the response on that page, on his post, was insane. Like, these aren't everyone, these are the people that got selected.
Yeah.
Like, you had to actually curate it a little bit because the response was just
And this is a pretty diverse group as far as, like, and not just as far as creators, but as far as, like, where they are in the world of comics. You know, some of them, like, James Asmus isn't huge. He's a valiant guy. He does a lot of their comedy stuff. He did Quantum and Woody. Whereas, you know, Phil Jimenez has been a big DC guy for, like, 20 years, and Mike Carey has forgotten more about Superman than most people will ever know. And Jay Edidin has a podcast about the X-Men, and they get to write one, too.
Now, what I think is the most interesting about all of this is that it's being published by IDW despite featuring DC characters, and it was edited by DC Vertigo's Jamie Rich. So, in the, like, support of what this comic is doing, DC has allowed some of their characters to break their trademark and be published by IDW, which is really fucking cool, which they've already have a good relationship with the Batman and Ninja Turtles crossover. Of course. Yeah. But if you want to get in on this book, they're being sold directly to buyers through the IDW website, or you can go to your local comic book store and ask them to pre-order the diamond code OCT160480.
And if you go to your local comic shop and you tell them about this issue, they'll probably know what it is, and they can find that diamond code if you didn't just write it down.
So it's a pretty cool thing. It's neat that all these people are coming together. I'm excited to see what comes out of it and how much money is actually raised. So we'll probably be talking about it more once it comes out.
Yeah.
How we can support it and all that good stuff. And maybe I'll try to have Mark on to talk about it.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be...
That would be cool.
Now that we have a longer time slot, we can go back to doing interviews.
Yeah, we get some people on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about this, not just because it's a great thing that's happening. I just love the idea of a book with this many people just, like, working together. I like whenever a book is like towards the end of its run, they need to do something and they slap together all these like one-page stories. Like Valiant does that in their 25s. They have a bunch of really short stories. I love the 25th issue of any Valiant comic. This is gonna be a whole issue of that, but it's also gonna make me cry.
All right, next up on the news docket is Kate Bishop possibly getting her own series here.
Yeah, more solicitation news, this time out of Marvel. There's 2 new series we're going to talk about today. The first one is this one, that Kate Bishop is going to be the Hawkeye. You know, Jeff Lemire very much built her up in his run, but there's still Clint Barton to be the main Hawkeye until now. And it's being written by Kelly Thompson, who I am familiar with, and I'm forgetting what she's written, but... Oh, she writes the Gem and the Holograms book that everybody is losing their mind over right now, as well as A-Force, which is the all-female Marvel team.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That book's great.
Still with that same costume, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great.
Which I don't have a problem with it. I hear Malika complain about it a lot. She's just like, that costume's stupid. Because she's like, it just makes us how there's like the hip cut out.
Oh, yeah.
Of like the skin right there. It's like, who would do that? Why?
I don't know. I have feelings about it. I'm not gonna say you guys are excited.
Well, I mean,
No, please.
I'm not nearly...
When have we ever shied away from you disagreeing with us?
And it just looks fucking stupid. Like, the adorable Archer. Like,
Yeah, why did they call her adorable? That's weird.
fucking stupid. Like,
That's
I don't
not
know.
something
I
that
don't
Matt
think
Fraction would have ever done.
But it is definitely a way...
She doesn't look
a
adorable
way that,
in
like,
the picture. She looks,
whenever...
like,
Strong and badass.
cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I feel like this cover probably... Oh,
Hey. Another
bundle.
Wow, $50.
Nice.
Jesus.
So this cover, I think, actually kind of it's evocative of the problem with Kate Bishop and Marvel, where there are writers like Matt Fraction and Jeff Lemire and I assume Kelly Thompson who are like, Kate Bishop's a badass and we're going to write her really well. And then there are other things like when she showed up in Old Man Logan, I was like, I haven't read a lot of Kate Bishop, and she was just like Marvel teen girl who was quippy and fun and competent to the degree that she could save one of the main male characters, but only once or twice in a book. And so, like, that's how she's always advertised as like a sidekick. And yeah, like, the adorable Archer does not... They're just making too money off of Miss Marvel, and I feel like they're trying to make way too much of it
Everyone's been
like
trying
Miss
to
Marvel.
rip off my girl Miss Marvel.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Honestly, I'm really tired
Is
of
there-
it.
is everybody's trying to become a-
I don't think that's
I
going to
really
happen in
am.
the actual book.
No, I trust Kelly Thompson to
You
do
can't
better.
slap a brown character on every single thing and try to brand her. You can't redo Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel happened to be a perfect storm of good writing and people who understood the source material of the culture they were covering and managed to adapt it to where any teenager in America can pick up that book and relate. But stop trying to make another Miss Marvel because it's not gonna fucking happen.
Well, did you read Matt Fraction's volume on Kate Bishop?
No.
It was awesome. It was super fucking good. So there was an entire So the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye, he did not differentiate between Clint Barton or her, Kate Bishop, as Hawkeye. They were both Hawkeye.
They're both Hawkeye.
Okay.
In fact, if anything, she carried the name of Hawkeye and he took Hawk Guy.
Yeah.
And there was an entire volume of that book. So the way they were putting out that book was one issue would be about Clint in New York, and the next issue would be about Kate in LA. And then they did a full story that way, where they both had their own separate storylines. And they say here that they're going to be taking up the mantle kind of where Kate's story left off in LA, which makes me excited because that was a really good setup. It made her a really interesting. She was on her own. She was trying to differentiate herself from her father's wealth and set up her own kind of little private investigator service out in LA. And it was a really good book. I actually haven't really enjoyed what Jeff Lemire has done with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. And like he sets her up as like the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the future and all this other stuff and like real big badass. And, but I just didn't feel the same like interesting strength while also like what I liked about Fraction's run is to Clint, he was her mentor. To her, she was the only thing keeping Clint together. And she constantly fought with that, where she was allowing Clint to think that he was her mentor, while simultaneously keeping him together as a crazy old man that's losing his shit. Which was really interesting, and there was that evolution throughout the book of him coming to a realization that, like, I am not Hawkeye in this situation. Like, if anything, she's more of a hero than I am. And that was a really great thing. And now, did you read the Civil War Choosing Sides book with her?
Yes.
So that, what they say that's kind of coming off of Civil War II, where she's become disillusioned from Clint. She's finally said, fuck him, he's gone too far, and she's separating herself and distancing herself from the Hawkeye the rest of the world knows. So I am interested in all that. I do think this cover is a huge misstep, calling her adorable, and a huge mistake considering everything we know about her so far. That seems like an editor's mistake. Because even the art is strong. Nothing there reads adorable. So what editor decided to put that on there?
It's just like, okay, Kamala Khan and Barbara Gordon are selling well, and we'll do that without, I don't know. I think, yeah, like you said, like what people liked about Miss Marvel was not just that she was like this young, cute girl, right? And the same thing to be said about like when the Batgirl and Burnside thing came out. What a lot of people liked about it was that like it was a young, cute girl, but it was in the guise of like a character that, like, it was really the costume that sold Batgirl and Burnside. Like, it wasn't the previews. When everybody saw like the design notes, like this is the new costume, that's when everybody lost their shit. Had nothing to do with the writing. It just had to do with the fact that the costume was covering the boobs.
But that's, like, that was great, but it detracted, and I have really strong feelings about Barbara Gordon. Like, really strong feelings about what they've done to her.
Oh, yeah.
How did you like that sex scene, though?
Oh, my God. Zach loves breaking me. Just like, remember that time when I didn't like Barbara Gordon and he said I was old and it wasn't written to appeal to me? The new Batgirl. So part of, like, this comes, I know, look, he's so happy. This does come with my sort of anger about Batgirl in her current state, is I do feel like they gutted the character to make her more appealing the way Miss Marvel is. Like, let's make her young. Okay, I love it when Kamala takes on a villain that the Avengers would be like, oh, that's a villain to you, sweetheart, because it's cute, because she's young, she's totally inexperienced, she's had no training.
New.
No training whatsoever. Brand new, just got her powers. Of course she's gonna take out cell phone thieves and stuff like that. I love it. I lap it up,
They're
right?
definitely not going to do that.
But when Barbara Gordon does that, it's insulting because she's been through so much, and you can't do that to my girl. It's bad. And now you put her in a book with Black Canary, who is freaking the leader of a band. She had her band standalone, and I love the Birds of Prey. So when I got the standalone comic and she's like in a band, I was like, oh no, no. And they have her next to.
Maybe you're just too old to enjoy this.
No, it's make new characters. Stop gutting the old ones.
Why?
And then you put her in the same book. You put her in the same book as a powerhouse like Helena Bertinelli, who had a great presence in Grayson.
You basically just use the comic book equivalent of "Get Off My Lawn." Stop ruining my old characters. Stop reforming them for a younger audience, and just make new ones.
She wasn't reformed, though. That's the thing. It's like you said, she was gutted. They do that all the time. Like,
why can't we have older female characters?
We see
why
characters.
Are you so terrified of women that maybe don't look like they're 20 anymore? Why can't we have you know what I love about the Batman Beyond comic is that we have an old Barbara Gordon that is commissioner. Like, why can't we let that happen? Why does she always have to be fucking 20 in her 20s with perky tits?
I think it's part of the problem
I wanted to see that.
Is that there's this thing like Thor is a great example of how to do it right. Right.
So rather than complain about nothing being out there, move and buy what actually does exist. To use your dollars to cause positive.
What they did there was they revamped a character but maintained all of the themes. They if you like Thor, you can still enjoy this book. It doesn't matter who's under there. They did the opposite with Bad Girl. They kept the character but lost the title. They lost the theme. They lost what mattered.
Yes.
And it'd be a real shame if there was 10 other Bat-related books coming out. Look, I get this too because I complain about Spider-Man on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing, but do I ask Marvel to stop doing it and do something else? I just go and I read Brian Michael Bendis' Spider-Man and suck that shit up, and I put that on my pull list. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's my shit.
And by doing that, aren't you telling them to change it, actually? That's the whole point.
Yes.
I'm telling them that I like this better. No. I'm gonna stop buying
You're telling them that.
But at the same time, there's people out there that do like it.
You look at it so clinically. To you, it's like, no, Batman Batgirl was all we had growing up. She was like one of 3 female characters, and you don't get to hit the reset button on her to just sell a few extra copies to kids these days.
Yeah, and
she means something.
No.
And if you didn't
say
do
all
it to
this.
Superman, you didn't do it to Batman, why are you doing it to the only one that
So
we
how
have?
do you go on, say something, go on to some social media platform that fucking loves Batgirl, look them in the eyes and say, that's not your Batgirl. That's my Batgirl. You don't get to have her.
You
know how
don't.
many young women
You
look
don't.
up to that Batgirl and
And you
absolutely
know-
love that book?
and you know
that
how
book
many-
is selling really well with young teenage
But
women.
we don't
Why?
grant the premise that it had to be Barbara though. Like
It
I
didn't.
understand it has to be a character people care about, and it could be called Batgirl. It just didn't have to be Barbara. Like
Exactly.
we as comic book readers are smart enough to know that there's a universe they could work with. There's Stephanie fucking Brown. There's the
There's
obvious
people that have
pick
been
there,
groomed
and that's what it
for
is.
this
Is that
role.
And oh my
It
god,
could
you know
be
what's probably
done-
gonna happen 2 years from now? A new book will come out with the Batgirl you remember, though.
and when that happens, we will feel better. And until then, I will be mad about
you guys
Batgirl.
read
be
comic
upset.
books every
Until-
week?
but until
Yes,
then-
just like you bitch about Dead Slot Spider-Man,
do.
even though you acknowledge it will change someday. We're gonna
Exactly.
bitch about Batgirl until it changes, just like you.
I get to be
But I
upset
don't-
about it.
I don't
Here's
think
the
that they
thing.
don't have
I
a
get to be
right.
upset about it.
I don't think that they don't have a right.
No, they've done this to her
Wait.
so many times. They've put her in a wheelchair. They've taken her from us so many times. You don't get to tell me that I have to choose, because you know what, Zach? As a little white boy, you have a whole pantheon of
I
heroes,
do.
and you don't have to choose.
I
We've
don't.
got like 3. Let us fucking have our 3.
You have a lot more now, actually, and they're coming out every single week.
Yes, and they're new
books are being
characters, and
supported.
they're great because Miles Morales didn't replace Peter Parker, and Miss Marvel didn't
I'm
replace
saying
Carol
every single
Danvers,
thing
and
you're
so why
saying.
did we have to replace
Every-
Barbara Gordon?
Every single thing you're saying, old white dudes said about this.
Ooh.
Every single thing you're saying, old white
I
dudes said
know.
about this book.
And I'm not- but
Because
that's-
they didn't want change, and they're not acknowledging the fact that how many women are representing and appreciating it. You and a lot of our audience are our age group. They're our age
But
group.
Sad
we're
and
talking about
tell
a
me
different
that
thing.
we
The
only
guys who
have-
complain about Thor say Thor should be a male character and it should be that. What we're saying is not this book shouldn't have happened. What we're saying is not these types of books shouldn't exist, and what we're saying is not these types of books shouldn't be Batgirl. What we're saying is just specifically it shouldn't be Barbara Gordon,
Shouldn't
right?
have been
There are things you could
Barbara.
do with Dick Grayson that you can't do with Bruce Wayne. There are things you can do with Superboy you can't do with Superman. And that isn't saying that's not a, we don't like change. That's, there's a point to reading big 2 comics.
Zach, keep trolling. #Sador-Krupp approves this message.
Look, there's always truth in trolling, so we're trying to get to the
Little bit.
bottom of an issue.
Yes.
Because I
Which
do agree
has
with
no
it.
bottom.
There is no bottom, and I'm just playing devil's advocate because I hear the same argument against my argument against Spider-Man, and that if there are a large group of people out there who like it, and who now there are a large group of women who didn't like the old Barbara Gordon, who didn't identify with her, that now do. So for us to say that we are the authority and we say no, that is incorrect. This new version is incorrect. While other people go, finally, I connect with this. Finally, a character that speaks to me and I really like it. They think we're dicks when we say shit like that because they're like, but you're ignoring the fact that I like it. And there's a lot of people, including other comic book creators like your Kelly Pseudoconics and stuff, who are huge fans of the new Barbara Gordon, who are just like, oh my god, this is so cool and I love this and this is really great.
I just feel like it shouldn't have come at the cost of a character who has been so important in particular. And I know someone's like, oh, you didn't have just 3 female characters. Okay, yeah, sure, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure we have just as many female characters.
When we're talking about big characters from the
you know what?
DCU
You're probably right. I'm probably wrong. Let's see how many men are on the
No,
covers and how many
he's right.
women
You
are.
didn't have 3. You had 2. You had Supergirl and Batgirl,
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
I'm
kind
sure,
of
no,
it
no,
in the
no,
DCU.
but we had Jean Grey and we had Storm, so apparently, no, you're right. We had tons of headliners and women who had their own comics. You're right, and I'm wrong. But
No, we
I
didn't.
will.
Who said that?
Somebody said like, "Oh, you had more than 3." I'm not
Not
gonna sit
really.
here and pick hairs
Yeah,
with
we're-
you
yeah,
because
we
I don't think you know
not
what you're
really.
talking
You can't
about.
be fair on that one.
And ain't none of them goddamn Barbara Gordon.
Barbara was important, and we shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have had to flush out all of the important history behind. Because Barbara Gordon was, for a time being, kind of a symbol of like feminism in comics. She was like the spearhead of it, and bringing her comic book back when it came back was a huge freaking deal.
You don't think that Barbara Gordon now is also representing a form of feminism? Because
She
a lot of
is.
people are saying that she does, because she's not being sexy, she's not appealing to a male
No,
reader
she
demographic.
is. I know, and I love it.
a
And I just
young-
wish that
If-
didn't have to come at the cost of a character who was really iconic and important to meet them.
There's a lot to be
there's
said
other-
about the run that came before it, though, in that it was Gail Simone's 3-year Batgirl epic, and none of what you just said happened. It was not for the male gaze.
you know what
it
was
was not
happening?
It was a fantastically written run by a woman,
And it was.
and women loved it.
But guess what else was happening while Batgirl was getting reformed? You had Batwoman in one of its most glorious runs ever that was fucking epic as shit.
Which ends 4 months after the shift we're talking about.
It did. It did end really soon, but that book existed and it was fucking phenomenal,
Yes.
and it recreated this idea of Batwoman.
And
in a
I was
new
reading
way.
both Batwoman and Batgirl, and now I'm just reading Batwoman. Well,
I'm
Detective
not
Comics.
mad. To clarify, I'm not mad that Batgirl exists. I'm not. I think that it's a great comic for young girls. It's not for me, and I understand that. But I just don't understand why we had to take literally one of the most iconic female characters of the DC universe, one of the only ones we have who was headlining a comic, and take that, just flush it all out and reboot it and keep everybody else the same.
I do
know?
like this question from Bob Lordeth though. Is like, are we saying then that every superhero is required to be all things to all people? Because it's impossible.
No. Well, that's why these conversations again have no bottom. Like Zach is right that it's great that new readers have a new Barbara Gordon to grasp onto, and Bronze and I are right that Barbara Gordon is a character we've loved for years, and the whole point of following Batman is that it's a continual story. Like I wasn't done with Barbara Gordon, and then DC said, actually, yes, you are. That era is over now, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that I spend a lot of time and money on DC Comics because I want this continuation. When they're like, fuck you, that story you read doesn't matter,
And it was
that's a
just
problem
her.
for me.
And
I spent
that's
time on
upsetting,
this.
too.
I learned this.
Yeah.
It
And the
wasn't
whole
just her.
idea is
They-
it comes
they-
back.
They kind of, I mean, they may have just, well, no, they didn't just reform her. Like you said, they reformed Black Canary too, and now there's a band and
but
stuff.
they
and
didn't
they're-
reform any of the guys.
Well,
Which is-
they,
and you know what
how
you see-
often do they fuck
but-
over,
but
kill
do
Bruce
you-
Wayne, bring him back,
But
kill
do you see where
Superman,
this
bring
crazy,
him
Jim Gordon
back?
was Batman for you.
Okay, you hated the Birds of Prey comic just as much as I did, and you know what? I thought about it after
not
I
for
was
me.
done, and you know what had happened when we talked about how stupid they
Yeah.
seemed compared to, you know what happened? We had a character that came out of one of the guys' comics. We had Helena Bertinelli who came out of Grayson with all this fucking force behind her, and you stuck her in a comic with two little girls that have been characters been completely gutted, and you expected it to work. And you saw this disconnect. Where like Huntress is a powerhouse, she's ridiculously smart, resourceful, and a badass. And Batgirl looks like a silly girl next to her. So in your own way, like you talked down to her, because if you had the old Barbara Gordon in that comic, she would have fit in perfectly. But that is where I really saw it, where I was like, Barbara Gordon doesn't even belong with the rest of the Bat family anymore, because she can't even match up to them anymore.
Yeah, it's awkward when she shows
They
up.
have to write her differently when they do put her in the Batman books, because the current Barbara Gordon doesn't even fit into it. So why did you choose Barb for it?
I think the fundamental difference is that, like, the
I can
difference
tell you what,
between
it wouldn't have sold.
Well, it would have if it were Steph. I really think it would. I don't think that like if there's a brand new costume, all these brand new readers that are falling in love with
Yeah.
Barbara Gordon, they don't know Barbara Gordon versus
All the
Steph.
reboots
They know
have sold
Batgirl.
really well.
It could still be called Batgirl. That's what's important. It had to be called Batgirl, but it didn't have to be Barbara Gordon. But the main difference is, like you said, Thor and Miss Marvel are awesome comics. And we don't feel like we're talked down to. And with Batgirl, the implication is, oh, this book is for girls, so it has to be younger, it can't be as exciting, and it can't have as good a story.
No.
Thor is better written, and that's the difference, is that they recognize this A-list writer can write for women. And we don't need to be putting our writers that don't get to write Batman on Batgirl. We can put the real writers on the books for women too. That's the big difference to me.
And this is the thing where we become contradictory. Is like this argument's reminding me why I'm irked by that. You can go reread the old stuff retort, which is what's used for a lot of the people who complain about the fact that Thor is a woman. It doesn't take away the Thor you remember and know. You can still go back and read those books, and you can still go back and experience those stories as you remember them. Your childhood isn't ruined. Your childhood isn't ruined by Michael Bay taking Transformers. You can still go watch the shows from your childhood. Luckily, we live in a day and age where we can do that. So we do become contradictory in that way, and that we're, in some ways, will argue that, oh no, it's still there. But then, no, God, you took it from me and you stole it and you changed it. And it sucks because, like I said, a lot of people do like it. And it might have been a marketing misstep, but I guarantee, just like where Marvel does a lot of the shit that they know they only do it because they know deep down, if we can get in the news, if we can become an internet headline, we will sell more books, and selling books is hard to do. And I guarantee a lot of it was, look at Barbara Gordon now. Yeah. Because those original character designs of Barbara Gordon as the new Batgirl blew up on Tumblr.
That's what sold
They
everything.
Blew the fuck up on Tumblr. So,
And
again, if you think about it, it's like, it might have been a misstep, but it probably sold a lot more books at the end of the day, and they probably deep down know that. And it sucks that that's the world we live in.
Some of it's also PR. Like when you look at books that are talked about on the internet, that is different than the books that are actually selling. Like nobody on Tumblr talks about any of the Jason Todd books. Scott Lobdell's books are hated by the internet, and yet he's been writing a Red Hood ongoing solidly for 6 years now because they continue to sell and people keep buying them. Whereas Batgirl keeps getting hyped up, but it still sells consistently about 30,000 or less.
Where are the freaking Tumblr feminists when it comes to She-Hulk? That run freaking ended so quickly, and it was a great book.
And that's the thing is,
you
you know where they were? They were on Tumblr and not buying the books.
Exactly. The internet is a really weird place. It's just like how Black Panther the book blows up on the internet, but Nighthawk, where was it? And that book was far more.
Was amazing.
Nighthawk will blow your fucking mind in the sense of like, whoa, holy shit, this book is coming out from Marvel right now, and it is a very clear stance on Black Lives Matter and police brutality. I mean, clear as fucking day. No press at all. Now, that makes you wonder in how much control some of these companies do have what hits Tumblr and things like that. It's like, is it really like they pay certain people to promote certain things that they want to come out? Did Marvel want the heat that that book could have brought them? Possibly not. So they just let it lie under the surface, and then it gets buried, and nobody knows about it.
And then with Black Panther, right, you have Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's a huge name writing Black Panther, but he's such a huge fan of the character, he's really getting into the superhero Black Panther mythos of it, so people expect him to be really indicting of culture with this, but he's like, no, I spend my whole career indicting culture. This is my time to play with Black Panther, so we're gonna stay in goddamn Wakanda. And so yeah, like that's they know that it seems controversial, but it's actually a safe bet. And also the movie, of course, helps sell Black Panther in a way it doesn't help sell Nighthawk, because until now, 2 months ago, did you give a fuck about Nighthawk?
I actually like this.
Like this new Nighthawk series is like excited to you guys, but the character Nighthawk doesn't necessarily sell books. You didn't give a fuck about Nighthawk until this new series. Now you're like, I want to read Nighthawk.
Yeah, I happened to pick it up and I really liked it, and it was crazy. It was insane. It was literally just like a.
And they did. And he changed it immediately.
Beating up white supremacists.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Nighthawk we knew from Squadron Supreme wasn't an activist black guy. You know, like. And then they just took this book and was like, no, this is what we're going to do with it. Switch everything around.
It's basically, it seems like they basically have just decided the Squadron Supreme is no longer an analog and just one of our teams. And so because of that, they can now write all these individual stories. AJ points out in the chat, Squadron Supreme were clones of the Justice League, so the Marvel Universe could sort of play with them. There's a version of the DC Universe called, like, I don't know what it's called, but there's some crappy Marvel ripoff. Now it's not the case anymore. Now Squadron Supreme is an ongoing. Nighthawk has his own ongoing.
And as a person who likes Barbara Gordon, my biggest thing that I feel sorry for you is DC makes these mistakes a lot when it comes to female characters. They make it a lot. That is part of the reason I choose sometimes to support others, because I've seen this stuff happen over and over again. I agree with you that it's frustrating. It does feel. I think that they've been taking certain steps in the right direction with Bombshells, and I thought Prez was
their PR sucks. Like, what people don't know is there was a great book called Justice League 3001 by Giffen DeMatteis, who are two of DC's biggest writers. That was an all-female Justice League, and nobody knew about it. And that's part of it, is that, like, DC isn't quite as, we gotta get Tumblr to fall in love with us as Marvel, because they know Tumblr hates DC, and even though DC keeps doing things, Tumblr doesn't care. Like, it is so popular.
Because of their stance that they've taken over the years on defending their use of women in a certain way.
But again,
they
in the last
defended it, and it hurt them on the internet.
Yes. All-Star Batman and Robin was a huge mistake, but in the last 3 or 4 years, they've been really consciously trying to fix that. And the creators especially, in the way that the advertisement isn't. They're like, we're going to fix it in our books, but we're not going to try to force it, because again, they know that, like, DC's not going to try to Tumblr the way Marvel is. That's just what happens when you're the oldest and most established company, and in any industry, it's really popular to hate you. And so DC deals with this differently, and I think they deal with it poorly as far as publicly goes. Like, reading their books, I think that there's a pretty good amount of stuff if you know how to find it. They just don't help you find it at all, and Marvel does.
Yeah. And there's just so much.
Yeah, both of them have 50 fucking books.
Yeah, they just put out so much that it gets lost. But, you know, I think for me, a good example, like, of what really started to get me back into comics the third time around, because I've, like, quit singles and gotten back into singles so many times, was actually the Harley Quinn standalone. And
I didn't like it at all.
It came out for me at a time when I really did like it. And now I'm not as fond of it, which is really sad. But when it first came out, like, 2 years ago, the first original of it, I just remember thinking, oh, Harley Quinn is a perfect choice for this because she's so popular that people will read her own book. And they got her away from the Joker, so we didn't have her under the Joker's thumb. And it's literally him trying to blow her up in her storage unit, her being like, fuck this guy, I'm out. And she moves back to Coney Island. And it was cute because I was like, you know what? That's a book that's kind of like, I don't need that guy. And I'm done with the abuse and I'm going to leave him. And it was adorable. And it's I don't think it is canon because the stuff that happens in that book would never
it's
make
canon.
it in.
I still didn't understand.
Harley Quinn is canon, absolutely. I mean, it was even
Really?
actually in Suicide Squad, they sort of built up Harley Quinn kind of abandoning the Joker so that she could go into her own series and get a more lighthearted vibe. Like, over a few years, she went from...
Suicide Squad, but technically
she's still in the Suicide Squad.
Different.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of, like, Batman and Detective Comics and all these other things sort of coexist.
Yeah.
Like, they all could happen within months. In my headcanon is simply that Harley Quinn just goes in and out of prison so frequently and so regularly that she'd be on the squad and having her own Coney Island adventures kind of simultaneously because she's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Deadpool could pull that off, too. Like, you believe Deadpool's in jail and then he could break out whenever. They have an old cyborgman, Jewish cyborg guy in a wheelchair. And that's interesting, though, that, like, you and I both like Harley Quinn and we don't like Batgirl, and that probably is illustrative of another thing in that Batgirl just wasn't written as well.
Yes.
Like, the first arc, she was fighting a villain who was using Tinder. She fucking used Tinder to find someone, right? Whereas, like, that's a fundamental difference, where in Harley Quinn, it's like, at least she still feels like Harley Quinn
and it was
different.
the right character to do that with.
The right character.
Yeah. I love Harley Quinn.
I mean, of course,
I get weird.
We're contradictory. We like change and don't like change at the same time.
And I get weirded out by Harley Quinn continuing to be over-sexualized, and despite her abuse, and it's a weird position to take on some of the ways that they deal with it, like the abuse that she's gone through and what we all know to be sexual abuse as well, and they continually over-sexualize her in a really weird way, and like a child kind of like sexualized way. Like it reminds me of Yolandi from
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And but that's like, Yolandi's a performance artist that does it to create an interesting dialogue about what it is to grow up as that kind of woman in South Africa, and this isn't. It's just like straight up sometimes just kind of like, whoa, okay, you know, like they just take it too far, I think, sometimes.
I see it very much as an extension of Amanda Conner, kind of whenever that happens, because I agree that you're right, and I think that Amanda Conner is definitely one of those, like, we'll reclaim our sexuality by embracing it, sort of feminists, and that it's interesting, and there's something to be said about with Harley Quinn. She is crazy, and she is a villain to some extent, and she is not healthy. Like, I agree with you about all of that, but that's kind of informative. Like, yeah, she doesn't cope with these things well. If she did, she wouldn't be the Harley Quinn that we love. It's like people tell me that Batman should get over his parents. No, Batman is fucking broken. He is 8 years old. He kills children all the time. And if you want him to deal with things well, you want Batman to stop existing. Harley Quinn is the same way.
But that's the problem with Harley Quinn, is she was, in the original, like, animated series where she was birthed from, she was more complex than she's almost ever been portrayed in comics, and that they handled her dealing with abuse in a lot better way without over-sexualizing her.
It helped that they were on a kids show and there were things that they couldn't show and they couldn't talk about, and thus we couldn't think about. Like, these questions we can't ask the animated series because we know the animated series can't answer them.
Right, but it was almost a better place to go with that, because the second the new 52 came out, they kind of rebooted all that. It took it to a different place.
And
but
I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely struggled over her costume over the years, but there's something to be said for, like, Amanda Conner's style, because the way she draws it is almost like fun, and it's less like jack off to this, sorry to be crude, and it's more like this is fun and it's cute.
Yeah,
But
like the book is mostly Harley Quinn and
DC
Poison Ivy.
comics in the same costumes with the booty shorts and
Suicide
the
Squad.
crop tops, then I'm like, I don't like this anymore, and it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't know why. And then I saw Assault on Arkham, and I'm like, hey, that's the Harley I kind of like. Her clothing was still sporty, it was still cute, and she still looked amazing, but it wasn't as, like, sexual. So I can kind of understand that, but I think for me, it's I've warmed up to the style. Like, there's scenes with her and Ivy in bed together in their underwear, and I've always thought it was adorable. I've never been like, oh, this is for a man. I've always felt like, oh, it's cute.
Yeah.
It's girls having a sleepover.
And
it's
that's
like a slumber
the
party.
best
and
part
it's
of Harley Quinn
adorable.
is when she and Ivy do drugs and hallucinate stuff together.
Yes.
And they've always got these like random, really sexy dudes just sort of waiting on them.
Yes,
in
they
the
have, like,
background.
handmaidens, and
Yeah,
they treat them like shit
Yeah, because
almost
Ivy's just
constantly.
like, you know, using her mind control powers to just
Yeah.
make male slaves for them. And then they'll like, and so often there'll be these themed issues where it'll be like they do drugs and they go on a pirate adventure, and then they're just
And
like in a
sometimes
bed
Catwoman
later.
comes along.
Yeah, and then like there was one issue, a road trip. Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn went on a road trip.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought that was horrible because that was the only one where the art really felt like they were for the male gaze. That one was a very jack off to this comic.
Because they were like in swimsuits a lot.
Yeah, and that was like a
really
special issue. It was a different artist, and it
Yeah.
was a mistake.
But when Amanda Connor,
Yeah.
with her and Jimmy Palmiotti,
very delicate
it has
series.
a different feel.
Yeah.
I have a signed.
So Von Deckard made a comment a little bit ago about sexualized in a childlike way. Have you been to Japan? Which is weird because I don't understand if you're trying to say that because someone else does it, it's okay. There's obviously a lot of problems in Japan with how there's this patriarchy between male and female.
The sexual culture there is
Somebody
definitely.
call for a sexy handmaiden? That's for you.
Is this one for me?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Um,
does it make sounds? No, it doesn't.
Just because someone else does it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a conversation about whether or not it is right or okay. Now, all of this going back to the Hawkeye, this conversation originated from the new Hawkeye
yeah, there's
book
a new Hawkeye series.
with an editor putting adorable Archer on there, despite that's probably not what the book's going to be about. Kelly even said in the interview, when I was pitching, I initially described Kate's book as Veronica Mars with superheroes, and though a lot has changed since pitching, I think this still sums up pretty well. Kate will be taking on PI cases, both her own personal mission that brought her back to LA and the clients that she finds, but you can't take the superhero out of Kate, nor would we want to. So, going back to that, I think the book will probably be a lot better than this unfortunate cover.
I will say, outside of the tagline, I like the cover.
Oh yeah, she stands super strong.
Like
and
she stands
awesome.
really strong. I like the colors mostly. I think that's what it is. Like the texture on her face is really neat.
I also like for people that are wondering where like she's been a character that's been around for a long time, and Kieran Gillen wrote her in Young Avengers extremely well, and then Matt Fraction took up that mantle and wrote her extremely well. And if they're building off those blocks, I'm sure Kelly Thompson will continue on in a really great way. So, do we have other news to talk about? It looks like we've got.
Just on in the same note, kind of the opposite is happening. Next, this is our last. Pretty soon, this is our last news story. Is just
Last
that
news story? Okay.
along with Hawkeye, She-Hulk is getting, or rather Jennifer Walters is getting a new series that will just be called Hulk. And that it's really Axel Alonso said. The initial quote he said I don't agree with, which is when you hear She-Hulk, you think of a lighthearted story that's going to be fun and not as serious. And I don't grant that premise. That's kind of the whole problem we were talking about, of Batgirl having to be dumb. But what he is right about this is when you think of Hulk, it's a 50-year-long ongoing that has always been about the theme of dealing with the beast inside. And this is going to be that. It's going to be a very dark take on Jennifer Walters feeling very much like the Hulk. And not just like, this She-Hulk woman that is neither,
Now, for me, the Hulk, I love the Charles Seal series that they did, but it did have that feeling like of, all right, we're gonna throw a Hellcat in there, we're gonna make it more cute. I fucking loved it. It was
I
great.
liked it a lot,
It was
yeah.
really, really good.
And Soul's not the darkest writer,
No. But that being said, his Daredevil run's been pretty dark. I'm really curious by this. It said in an interview, much of it was inspired by thinking about how different people deal with the hard things that happen in their lives. How memory, trauma can infuse our whole being, be a physical presence in our lives. Tamaki told the AV Club that I was really into the idea of a Hulk, of the ability to transform into something close to monstrous that's still human and heroic. I was interested to think about what's human about Hulk and vice versa. So that should be a little interesting.
And that one's by Mariko Tamaki, who wrote This One Summer, which is a beautiful and dark story, graphic novel that's just about kids in summer, and it's weird. It's good, though.
And
I'm definitely interested.
I'm interested, and what I think's interesting about that too is like Jennifer Walters, unlike a lot of the other Hulks, doesn't turn human.
Yeah, and
She
that's
stays green. She's
Yeah.
always a Hulk and
Yeah.
can't hide from it, and can never like revert. So that does make it interesting. Orders for comic books have hit a 20-year high. That is actually pretty interesting news.
I mean, that's kind of the extent of the news, but it's the news. Orders for comic books have hit a 20-year high.
Getting back to the 90s stage.
Yeah, back in the 90s. Probably the late 90s, because we'll never get back to the early 90s.
No,
where
man, X-Men 1, like...
X-Men 1, 3.5 million issues. Never, never again. But, we're doing pretty good.
Never say
Rebirth sold a
never.
lot of stuff.
That's what I was saying. We could have had a new Batgirl and would have sold just because it's a freaking Rebirth.
Just 'cause it's a number one.
I'm telling you. Trust me. Also, DC, can we just take a moment and say DC is doing some awesome things with female characters, but they just don't get, like Zach was saying, they just don't get the attention on Tumblr. Raven #1 dropped today, and I can't talk about it yet. It's not a singles part, but
Man, I'm excited. And that's by Marvel, by the guy who
you
invented the
guys
character.
are the people that know the names. I just read the books.
All right, so we
so
are
this
going
is
to
by the guy
check
who
out...
invented Raven in 1980.
Oh.
We are going to check out, because I guess we're doing this now, we're going to check out the honest trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the
This is
Shadows.
gonna be a regular thing now.
Might as well.
I guess
I like
so.
the Screen Junkies guys.
There's enough geeky movies that come out on a regular basis that we can do
Yeah.
this, every once in a while
Just
without.
figured it out.
So is this a key for
You're still
Viacom
holding it
to
up. You're still
Viacom
holding-
should stop watching right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wait. If we watch... No. Viacom wasn't this one. Viacom was Key and Peele.
Oh, okay.
That's why that one got blocked. It was Key and Peele. We should have known when we played Key and Peele we were going to get... That video got blocked.
Oh.
Viacom was like, no. So you hold it
Well-
with this hand, so you can... And then it's got Nerf gun. in
Oh.
there.
So do it with this hand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you-
All right. Did you guys see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows?
I did.
I did too. Here's what was really weird.
Is that you liked it?
I didn't like it, but I didn't dislike it, and I found myself chuckling and appreciating that it was like I was watching a cartoon.
Yeah.
It felt like a cartoon.
Yeah, and that was my reaction to it. I loved it because if I see TMNT and it reminds me of the cartoon, I'm not going to object to that, right? Like, I definitely do like it when movies make something grow up, make something different, make something new, but I also like it when movies are like, fuck it, we're going to do that thing just for an hour and a half, and it's going to be great, and that's what this fucking movie was.
And it's funny that sometimes, because TMNT has a really interesting history where people are just like, oh man, like I love the very first movie from way back when.
like 93 or whatever, yeah.
It was an indie film published by MGM and stuff like that. That film was fucking amazing, but didn't feel anything like the cartoon that kids grew up on. This movie actually feels more like the cartoon than almost any movie that's come out about the Ninja Turtles. If you like the old, small, short Turtles cartoon and stuff like that, the feeling of it. That feeling of Krang and Shredder, the jokes, the over-the-top stuff.
That's
The
why I
ending all
couldn't
happening
watch
way
it.
too fast.
There was moments with, like, the expressive facial, like, they were much better in this one with the facial expressions of Michelangelo and stuff like that. There was actually some stuff that
I
was...
couldn't do it, man.
It's so much like
I
the
couldn't
cartoon.
do
If
it.
you go back and watch those old cartoons, they're silly as shit. And that's like the weird disconnect, I think, between TMNT fans, is that the original book was really dark, and the original movie was really dark. The original cartoon was silly as fucking shit.
Yeah, this is not Kevin Eastman's Ninja Turtles. This is, was it Nickelodeon's? Nickelodeon's Ninja Turtles.
Or not even that. It's the
Although-
old cartoon wasn't even Nickelodeon. I don't
No, it
remember.
wasn't. Okay, I don't remember what it was. But yeah, this is the cartoon. Although Kevin Eastman is in the very beginning. He was the pizza guy that they took one from, and I thought that was sweet. So you guys don't know Kevin Eastman
Well,
invented
Kevin
the
Eastman actually,
Turtles.
what's interesting, I got to talk to him personally about these. He actually really likes the movies, which is interesting. He has no conflict with these films.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised the kind of guy Kevin Eastman is that he would like the cartoons. He'd be like, yeah, make it do your thing. It's like when Alan Moore asked Len Wein to write Swamp Thing, Alan Moore said, do I have to do what you do? And Len Wein's response was, I certainly hope not. Like, I want you to write your own thing. And I feel like any writer, like Kevin Eastman came up in 70s and 80s, he wants writers to do new things
Well,
in
he's
comics.
he's also a pretty laid back guy.
Yeah.
That, I mean, at the end of the day, the Ninja Turtles were a joke based on Daredevil. Like, it was a Daredevil
Yeah.
joke that took off. So,
Like, with this movie, all you need to remember is this movie is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, Come on.
I probably should have watched it, but I like censor things for myself because as you guys can tell, I get really emotional when I see things that I don't like. And I went and saw like Transformers 1 through 3, and I was like,
See,
then I heard that they were going to be aliens, and then there was like a scene in the trailer where she's like, you know, oh my god, what are you guys?
I can't stand the
and then
Shredder.
he's like, what'd you think
or not
we were,
the Shredder.
aliens? And I was like,
I can't stand Master Splinter in these movies. He's fucking terrible. But I like the Turtles a lot more in this one than the last one.
but April O'Neil,
I don't want to have comments
plastic
on
face over there.
that. Yeah. But there was a lot of things in this that were fun. I always say judge a movie by what it tells you to judge it by. The first one took itself too seriously. This one right out of the gate was like,
Doesn't give a fuck.
don't even think for a second we're going to take ourselves seriously. Straight up, just over the top bullshit. Which then I go, okay, thinking brain off,
Like,
let's just...
Towards the end of this movie, Casey Jones breaks an office chair and puts the wheels on his sneakers with like packing tape, and then uses that to like skate like a fucking badass, like is on normal roller skates. That's the movie we're talking about.
It's ridiculous. So let's
very
watch this
silly.
honest trailer, which we know will tear it apart, which is why it's fun. Actually, did we... Okay, one sec. Let me make sure that our audio is correct, because that was not...
This time, you guys, we're actually gonna
There we
do
go.
a thing
That
right.
is good. All right. And...
First try.
From the studio that owes its existence to Michael Bay these days comes a sequel that gave fans everything they asked for and still kinda sucked. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. You wanted more Turtles, more characters from the cartoon, less April O'Neil, and you got it, but still didn't show up to see it anyway. Because when the same lazy writers are handling the script, it's not really gonna change much.
Inside that purple ooze has returned them to their rightful place in the animal kingdom.
Yeesh. That's a stretch even for a Ninja Turtles movie. The heroes in a half shell are coming out of the shadows, and they have a bunch of crap duct taped to them now, in a story that basically admits how terrifying these CGI roid monsters look.
Not monsters.
Sorry, Mikey, but that's a turtle. That's a turtle. That's a turtle. That's a monster.
What are those things?
Ugh. Watch Mikey, Raph, Leo, and Don show off their great chemistry with each other, while the humans in this movie show off the great depths they'll sink to for a paycheck.
Right on time.
Featuring Tyler Perry and Nerdface.
Comic-Con, yeah. Yeah.
Multiple Oscar nominee Laura Linney pretending to look at turtles.
Really?
And Megan Fox reminding us why she's still PG-13's movie, right? You remember Casey Jones' awesome debut in the comics and first film. And you've already forgotten Steve Amell's version in this one, as the most badass character in the canon goes from a killer vigilante to a bumbling cop
That's Officer Jones.
YouTube's not desync, Lori.
And I'm gonna be a detective someday.
who makes roller skates out of an office chair and never fights alongside the turtles?
I think we nailed it with this movie.
Sorry, Arrow, you didn't. But Bay & Co. aren't done yet. Now, all the villains suck too, as Krang is shoehorned in to yell a bunch of nonsense that Shredder is cool with for no reason.
It will open a portal through which I can bring my war machine, the Technodrome, to Earth.
I'm interested.
Baxter Stockman never turns into a fly, and Shredder just stands around without even putting his costume on. Blessings, I guess.
That's still the worst turtle.
Get ready for ninja action. That never comes, because there are almost no martial arts in this movie, culminating in the same blue beam skyhole finale as every other movie this decade. What is up with the 2010s and skyholes? Can we just go back to the awkward rubber suits already?
It's time to go back.
So get ready for a kids movie that manages to be both dumb and hard to follow.
I still don't know what you're saying.
But that won't stop Donatello from trying to explain everything.
Computers pinpointed the isotopic signature of the purple ooze. I can track Bebop and Rocksteady's exact coordinates. The atmosphere around that technodrome would be toxic to anyone with a standard cardiovascular system. This thing's 57% complete. If we don't stop it now, it's gonna be ready to go in less than 4 minutes.
Okay, clearly you're just reading from a script. There's no way you could know that. And it won't stop Michelangelo from telling you how cool everything is.
Cool. This is awesome! Oh, this is awesome! Yeah, pretty awesome!
No, Mikey, it isn't. Starring Oroku Saki, you have failed this character. Dwayne The Raph Johnson, Barf Simpson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Sheldon Cooper, Pizza Rat. Oops, she's in this again. Don't quit your day job. Beavis and Butthead, Diary of a Mad Scientist, and Pinky in the Brain. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, please go back in the shadows.
We'll never finish our hip-hop Christmas album!
Oh, but Mikey, you already did.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Andy here with some huge news for Screen Junkies. As you see, we're growing every day and we couldn't do it.
Here's why I think Ninja Turtles is an interesting property.
The credits music did the Go Ninja Go Ninja Go. That's the kind of movie we're talking about.
Yes.
That movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it, is exactly what it looked like.
And the other thing I'd like to say about Ninja Turtles, nothing is sacred. Nothing. In the Ninja Turtles universe, seriously, nothing is fucking sacred. If you go back to your childhood, those old cartoons, I love them. I love them so much. Silly as shit. The comic book itself would go from black and white, dark and serious, to full color, over the top, blown out, multi-dimensional craziness, just like the cartoon. The toys, it was toyed out of its fucking existence, no matter what it could to sell. There was the rock concert VHS tape that I'm sure we all had. Do you remember that shit?
I didn't get into Ninja Turtles enough when I was a kid to get
There
that
was
shit.
the
But
Christmas rap kind of thing. There was the rap thing that was totally different than the rock tour. They went on tour, coming out of our shells. Ninja Turtles coming out of our shells. There was the second movie, the third movie. If people try to act like the Ninja Turtles are something sacred, you are fucking lying to yourself. That series and everything around it has been sold out of its own fucking existence in whatever massive thing that could sell. They did a crossover with Power Rangers. Like, really, if anyone tries to tell me Ninja Turtles are something sacred, that, oh, there was this one way. There was a good movie. There was actually a great movie that came out, and that should be its own thing. It existed within the Ninja Turtles mythos. It was amazing, but I don't expect anything out of that franchise. I don't expect. The Nickelodeon cartoon that's out right now is really good, but I have no expectations, because if you look through the history of what they've decided to sell the rights off to, it is anything and fucking everything. They don't give a shit. They just, you want it? Do it.
Sure, Turtles.
Do it. Do it.
Go
Whatever
Ninja, go
toy
Ninja,
you
go.
want. You want to shoot some goo out of that thing? Fuck it, let's do it.
Can we do
Don't
a
care.
Ninja Turtles RPG?
Why not? Okay.
We're gonna
rethink
shoot
that.
goo out of
We're
where?
gonna rethink that. It's already been done.
I don't
Already been
know.
done.
I guess the reason I'm like one of those people that I believe in voting with your dollar, and I'm kind of just tired of Michael Bay because he has like a lot of racial tropes in his films,
Yeah, he does.
and he uses women as sexual objects, and I'm tired of him.
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
does.
gonna give him my money.
Granted,
I
he
hope
didn't
every
actually
movie
direct
has
this movie.
flops.
He didn't actually direct this movie.
He hasn't. No, he didn't direct the
no.
last
Kind
one.
of like how Abrams isn't directing Star Trek anymore. He just their names
Oh,
are
I
just
knew
on
that,
these
though.
things.
Oh.
Yeah, no. It's just it was produced by Michael Bay, but Michael Bay wasn't actually the director. Although Michael Bay definitely was the force behind.
That scene is like, okay, here's the
scene.
thing. I don't even, I'm just gonna say this, I don't even consider myself a feminist because I am very disenfranchised from the current feminist movement. So I'm just gonna get that out of the way. I'm not your typical Tumblr person, okay? But you can't tell me you saw that scene with April O'Neil and it wasn't super cringe.
Oh, it's stupid.
Like at that point,
It's
you're
so
just like,
stupid.
oh.
The setup for it is even
stupid. Like,
Especially at this point, like when it happened in the first Transformers movie, and like a bunch of 14-year-olds discovered Megan Fox. It was
that scene where she's like fixing the car, but she's
it was like
everything wrong.
yeah.
And,
It was like weird, but like we were getting used to it. At this point, Michael Bay's done it in every fucking movie Megan Fox is in, and it's just like
Well, she won't work in a movie with Michael Bay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what's
just
funny. Like
Well, she keeps saying that, and then nobody hires her that she does TMNT too.
No. She's not actually working with him, is the thing.
Oh,
He's
yeah, that's
so
true.
not a part of these. Like, he's just, it's a cash cow. Okay, Final Fantasy Master. Ivan reskinned that old TMNT RPG system because that system is shit. We looked at it for a long time. We almost did a TMNT RPG, and we bought the books and we dove into it, and it was a shit system that was not right for entertainment. So he had to reskin it to do it because it would be the most boring RPG ever if you used that system. Okay. I think we're finally ready to start talking. Well, we could do a real quick Valiant recap.
Gossip about Valiant a little bit.
Yes.
Before we get into our picks and the books that came out this week.
So, for those of you who don't know, on Monday nights we have a show called Valiant Vanquished. It is an RPG set in the Valiant Comics universe. Bronze and I are characters playing it. Zach is our GM. And we finished Volume 2 on Monday.
The end of Volume 2. Volume 2 is about character growth. We removed you from the things you are comfortable with to force you to have to be people that couldn't rely on anything that you know and to get to the bottom. The device was decided to do that to create a situation where you would be forced to all have to work together, whether you wanted to or not. So, let's talk about it.
It was,
I think
it was really intense.
if we're gonna have a conversation, now I kind of brought it up yesterday because I know, like, they're gonna start talking about it in the chat room, so we have to kind of address it. The difference between an RPG character and what it means to play chaotic neutral in an RPG system. It's necessary.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Gaga says, Glitch is wonderfully disruptive.
Yeah. Glitch was being a bitch on Monday. Bronze was fucking on point.
So,
and I think there's a lot to be said about, like you said, kind of the goal was for us all to learn teamwork, and Glitch keeps not acknowledging that we're a team, and Erida keeps saying we are a team, and I think that's really indicative of the 5 of us are a team, and Glitch just showed up at the end of Volume 1 and still is comfortable with us.
I had thoughts on it because Here's my stance on it, okay? I'm just gonna say this because I tweeted about it, and I don't normally say these things publicly that way, and I got emotional, and I normally don't get emotional. I'm kind of like a rock. So it upset me because I felt like people didn't get it. And to me, it's like, when you have a character like Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones, I don't expect you to like Cersei Lannister, but I do expect you to respect the actress Lena, who is playing Cersei Lannister, and I'm gonna hold my thought.
#Sador-Krupp applauds Eternal Night for saving the faraway. Also, Volume 3 should be a redo of Volume 2 since they didn't learn to work together at all. #True.
Here's what I want to remind you though, and this is something I have to tell myself with our audience all the time. We have a lot of very passionate people, and because it's an RPG channel, they get really attached to shit, and what I make the mistake of doing sometimes is not realizing 2% have said something, 98% are fucking on board.
Yeah.
And it's like, we forget sometimes because we look at a chat room and we see something and we pick it out, because I'm my own biggest critic too, and I know, like, I'll see something in the chat room, like, I'm gonna address that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's one person out of 300.
Yeah.
And 50.
And
then
I
we
guess I felt like a witch hunt, and it felt personal, because people were saying things like, if I was the GM, I'd have a chat with Bronze. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be in your game. Don't act like you're my dad. You know? Why hasn't Zach thrown her out yet? Bronze is holding the story back. And to me, it's like, do you honestly think that you know my character better than the person who wrote it? So I'm just going to address this real quick. Okay. Yes, Bronze had a chat with the Trollisha. Yes, Glitch started to maybe rethink things in her life. And then she saw a video clip of her supposed team committing horrendous acts. And unlike Glitch, who takes responsibility for every life she takes and wears that burden on her soul, what did her team do? At first, they pretended it wasn't real, and when faced with the inevitable reality it was, she realized that they erased their memories instead of taking charge of what they did. That is the total opposite of how Glitch is. So for those of you keyboard warriors who want to sit in chat and say, Bronze was supposed to turn a leaf and she didn't, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
You really don't.
I think there's also a lot to be said about...
Why would I trust people that slaughtered a police officer, blew up a hospital, and then said, sorry, I'm gonna have to throw you under the bus here, Alara.
Please do.
That was us then. That's not us now.
Yeah, Alara's
Butch kills
in
people
denial.
And she owns up to it. And how is she supposed to trust these people around her who kill people and don't have the strength to own up to it?
Yeah, and Nebraska's definitely...
Any trust she built with them was crushed in that moment because you guys couldn't accept the truth. You were all just like, no, this can't be real.
And what's funny is that if you think that wasn't the point by showing them all the terrible shit they've done, like, how do you come out of that situation and say that one of them is worse than the other? Like, the whole point in that was to kind of reveal that how can they stand like they're heroes and call other people monsters despite all the terrible things that they've done. And that's part of their journey, is deciding whether or not they want to or to not be that. Now, again, I feel like when we make these arguments, though, I do want to address, I know that we're only talking to 2 or 3 people right now. 2 or 3 people out of the 450 people that we're watching. Because if you realized anything, I hope, the second we address it, you get flooded with support. And people being like, no, we love you.
And I felt embarrassed because then I got this outpouring of support and I realized it was a really vocal minority.
Very vocal
But
minority.
I was like, I was getting screenshots from my viewers of people saying, like, if you vote for Glitch, like, as the MVP, like, unfriend me now. People were making it really personal. And I was
You also
like,
have to realize they're
you
being
missed
like,
the point.
they're also being like, when they say
know, they're
stuff
probably
like that,
being trolls.
It's the
and
internet.
They're not just being
personally.
trolls, they're being heavily affected by the show, which is what we want.
Yeah.
We want them to be heavily affected. And know that those are my decisions as the GM, that I want you to hate me.
But it makes me sad.
I will take some of that flag.
Glitch and Bronze are both damn awesome, just in very different ways. Punks better leave my #faraway friend alone.
Okay, so
thanks, EK.
I'm actually glad that because the two of you are on the show what represent action instead of thought,
and at the same
And
time
it's
also
needed on the
disruption.
show. And disruption. And okay, here's what I want people to understand: we are not playing an RPG with your friends in a basement. The goal of this is not to win. It is not a game to win, it's to entertain and to create a cool story. We are writing a live TV show in a lot of ways. The goal of this that you have to understand when you're watching something is not some end game, is not some like beat this dragon, everyone level up, congratulations, let's move on. We're telling a story. This channel is about interactive and live stories with you as the audience being able to have some effect on that. Now, if you are watching these RPGs for some victory or something like that, that's not what they exist for. That's not what they are. So don't put it in the same category of when you're playing RPGs with your friends and you guys are all supposed to work together. I understand that if you were at home and you were playing an RPG together and you had one person in your group that kept dropping you into the dead side, you might be like, man, what the fuck? But we ask for it here. We have meetings where we say, how can we fuck things up this week? Because it creates a more dramatic experience where the characters have real things to overcome with each other that is more interesting to watch, because now you get to see it where they've grown from a month ago, where they've grown from 2 months ago, and 2 months from now you'll get to see like, oh, remember that time that they couldn't even work together in that way to take down Galushi, someone who worked extremely hard to get under their skin and fuck with them beforehand, making it impossible for them to work together as a team. Galushi won. At the end of the day, what he set out to accomplish, he won. He showed them how terrible they were and that they shouldn't trust each other and that they shouldn't, like, he was trying to make Lydia not even like her own father. So in some ways, he won. And, like, Cross's goal in all of that was to, despite all of it, try to push through it. But why would this group all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, fucking great, you know?
Yeah,
like,
we also can't be like, oh, we've been screwed up in the past few episodes. Let's all be crazy competent all of a sudden.
I don't think that I came into this like, I'm gonna move against the team. I was totally on board. I was starting to think things differently. And then I thought back to that episode when I killed somebody who narrowly killed Erida, when I was starting to have feelings for my team, and how the entire team never asked me why I did it, but instead proceeded to berate me about the fact I did it, and then I see a reel of all the people these people have killed. Erida literally boiled somebody alive. You ate half of a police officer, and yet
that was Detective.
Let's clear this up because that's the thing that's going on.
Detective Cross
So
police officer.
there is DTD Merrick, who was a cop who lost his hand. I ate his
did you
hand.
eat?
That's
Oh,
Merrick,
you ate
right?
the hand.
I ate the hand, and I also ate, of course, Galushi's head. It was Geist that bit the cop in half.
Right, and I didn't
Yeah.
really. I thought I mixed up.
We
the
have
hand.
both brutalized cops. Mine is just coming back to fucking kill us. That's the difference.
And think of it from once again my character's perspective. These people gave me grief over killing one person who very narrowly killed our whole team. But one of them ripped a cop in half. The other one boiled one alive. And
Sorry,
the other
Merrick.
one bit a cop's hand off.
And that's just the video clips you saw. There is actually more casualties that were off camera.
Yeah, we're gonna learn.
And there were other things that happened, like having someone take them in overnight, and then whenever the PRS comes and raids those people's houses just up the hill, they choose to continue moving away and not go and help and try to save them.
We've done that like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, running away from the problem and who they are on the inside. So that's what creates growth on a show. It makes it really fun. So I want to remind you and everyone watching, I understand it's the vocal minority. And it's like, I wanted to almost be like, welcome to the club. I get so much hate on a regular basis.
Really?
I get so many personal messages from people saying that I'm an asshole, that I troll too hard, that I'm super mean to people, and that a lot of people just, for one, we have to also step back sometimes and understand that you and I are extremely strong personality types. And we have a lot of people on our channel and in our audience who have more passive personality types. They are naturally somewhat threatened by our fuck it attitude, and also how we berate people. And you have to, like, I am hard on my friends and we joke around a lot. If you don't have friends that you do that with, you might think that I'm just insulting someone, and they don't understand that. They don't understand the complexities of a relationship like that with other people, and they also don't sometimes think about, oh, this is a production, a show. I bet they talk about a lot of these things as characters before and after the show, and that people are filling their roles properly. They probably just think in that moment, oh, fuck, oh, this is not what I wanted to see. This makes me angry. It's like, well, good. I'm glad you're angry. You should be, because that means we're doing our job. So to some extent, I'm sorry it happened to you. The part of me that sees people being that upset and getting that fired up is like, we're making a good show. We're
I was
making a
so
show
proud.
that's making people react very strongly and talk about it for 12 hours in Discord. And we have a lot of shows where that doesn't happen, so I feel proud that we get to do that.
I was very proud of any of the hatred I got for killing Galushi. I was like, good. I am
Yeah, he
so
did get a lot of that,
I
too.
was so excited that people cared about Galushi enough to be mad about that, you know? But that's also a different thing, because it was very different. I think there's a lot to be said about Glitch. Like, we've all lost memories and we're all really new, and Glitch is a PRS agent who has been through so much and is way more set in her ways and knows how she wants to do things, where, like, Nebraska's the most naive character that I've ever fucking seen. So he could grow and learn throughout the faraway, whereas Glitch doesn't just have one conversation and it changes her whole fucking world. That happens to somebody like Nebraska, you know?
Which has happened.
Which has happened, and it's gonna keep happening. Like, he's gonna keep kind of bouncing around until he finally figures out who he is. He doesn't know yet. Glitch does. Glitch does know who she is, and she's trying to figure out who she's gonna be now.
And I like you guys' dynamic a lot that we've been building, because you are, like you said, there's people on that team, like, Erida is the opposite of you. She's like the yin to your yang, and that she's done horrible things and is just completely trying to ignore the fact that anything, like, in her mind, she's still a delicate kind of flower in a way that that is pure and has morals and values, but has gone to extreme lengths to protect herself and her family. You have found a comfortability in knowing your instincts and who you are, and there might be some insecurities hidden in there that we've kind of started to show little hints of. But for the most part, they see things in you that they're no different than you, and I think that frightens them. And on your standpoint, you know exactly what you could be and what you could become, and the realization that you probably did become it is tearing you down. And I think there's a lot of interesting things going on there.
Yeah. And also, like, Nebraska's in denial in a way that, like, Glitch is kind of too smart to be. Right? Yeah. Glitch is like, look at that shit. Nebraska's like, no. Just straight up no.
Yeah, having the assumption that you might have been under someone else's control despite your history, like, those are great things. I think we're building really interesting characters.
It's good. We love doing the show. I'm really excited where Volume 3 is going to go. I thought Volume 2 was a lot of fun. I think, Nebraska's growth has been really fun to sort of temper and show. Like, there was a sort of a team-up moment when we did the sniper thing, but it was through duress. And I think that's kind of a great way of showing, like, yeah, we can team up. We can figure out how to work together, and we can trust each other when we need to, but we're not just going to do it on our own. You know, we did team up. Like, we did end up all working together.
Before I decided that I have to do it this way.
Yeah. And frankly, maybe this is just me, I think it's kind of fun that, like, we can't keep, like, we were all fighting and then Petunia barked Livy off the edge, you know? And the fact that that can happen in any one of these scenes is, to me, part of the fun of Vanquished.
That's the other thing, too. Why wasn't anyone being like, fuck Petunia?
Yeah, the fuck Petunia. I can bark it all over the place.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me as a GM, too, because I could kill you guys so many times.
Yes, we could. And that's...
it was 2 episodes shorter, BroGray81. So Volume 2 was 6 issues, and Volume 1 was 8, because the story was over. I mean, the volume ended.
Yeah.
The story was over for that chapter, and the next chapter is going to be an interesting one. Spoilers for the people that haven't watched it yet. We are now in the year 2014, which is the year that they were under control of the Black Bloc that they now know, and they got put directly in Idaho. So what I like about that is all the variables it creates for you all, in that you have to wonder, Neela has lied to you before. We made that really clear, and I wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
She put you there. Why?
Right. And
she's also told you can't affect your own history.
But we can affect our own future.
But you can affect your own future. So, those are the questions I want you to have to think about as a team of what actions you'll have to take.
Yeah, as far as being a team goes, let's also keep in mind that Nebraska wants them to be a team because this is the closest to friends and a family he's ever had in his entire life. Glitch has been stuck with them since San Francisco. She has not had an opportunity to leave. She was at work and helping them out, and then they fell into the dead side, and then immediately when they came back, we went to the fucking far away, and now we're in goddamn 2014. So there's something to be said about, like, Nebraska would choose to be where he is this entire time, and Glitch the entire time has been where she doesn't want to be.
But now she kind of owes you guys. She's got her out of the jam.
Yes, and into the past. But yeah, we did kind of save you from your killer robot, but also send it to the dead side, and we'll see what happens there.
Where we basically created the evil League of Evil.
I don't know. I'm hoping that the one, like, that it won't be evil plus evil. It'll be evil defeats other evil.
That never happens, though. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's no fucking chance that we're done with goddamn robot Galushi.
Winter's Man are gonna join forces, and they're gonna create a Mecha Galushi winter spewing tentacle robot.
About the one thing that's really important in all 3 of those characters: ego.
Yeah.
How do any of those 3 actually work as a team?
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Yeah. And Pale Mistress is a lot different than something white or Galushi can.
Yeah, regardless of what happens to Galushi.
To brand as evil.
But either way, it's going to be a problem for us.
Yeah.
Because y'all made promises.
We didn't really kill him.
My ass can't keep.
We kind of just got rid of him. We kind of just did the equivalent of throwing him through the airlock, the way Armstrong said. I
like this question. If Nebraska runs into himself, will he have to roll for intellect twice? If Nebraska runs into himself, he's just going to lose his, like, I don't even know if he's going to be able to handle it. Especially
Would we run into ourselves?
In this world?
Yeah.
I mean, we could potentially, because we're on time war travel.
Why would Neela put you in 2014 right outside the compound that you're being held at? That's the question you have to be asking yourself.
Yeah.
And why in the video was everyone else wearing black jumpsuits and
Erda wearing orange?
When Erda has never been to the compound before. As you said, you picked up on almost immediately, it's not what happened, it's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and man, I felt so bad for you. You were trying to explain to our stupid-ass team that time travel's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we were like, what are you this is a video! It can't be like that. And inside, I'm like, oh, she's so right. And I thought it was cool, because, like, right when you said she's orange, I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna go back in time, we're gonna do that thing that's gonna be awesome. And I just couldn't acknowledge it. Poor Glitch.
You have to be stupid.
Poor Glitch.
And this is why Glitch sometimes does not trust her team when they're like, oh, just be human beings.
'Cause we're
She's
really
like,
dumb.
"But you guys don't even understand."
Yeah. It's actually, to be honest, it's not as hard to play Nebraska as you'd think. I have a lot of fun just like, I'm not going to know what that shit means. Like, it's a lot of fun.
So I hope you guys like Volume 2 of Vanquished. Continue, clipping, gifing. The wiki is now up where you can get the show recaps for every episode. Share with your friends if you have comic book friends. We're really proud of the show, and we'll be starting Volume 3 next week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yikes.
No break this time. Just gonna go right fucking into it. I have so much planning to do. I'm making it harder on myself, so I have a 6-month plan for the show of the general direction of where things are gonna go and what things get revealed to you all. But I put myself in a position that's really difficult, so I'm just like, oh fuck. I'm making more work for myself, and I shouldn't be doing that. But I'm excited. I think Volume 3 is going to be a lot of fun. And it's... The thing that's interesting is when I'm writing out where I want the show to go for the next 6 months, I make certain assumptions on these variables, and they are never close to what actually happens. And that's what's been exciting and interesting, is that, putting situations in front of you all and having these variables point out and then saying, oh, I didn't even think they were going to go that route. Interesting. So that's going to heavily affect how this thing happens 2 months down the line. Wow. Like something like Merrick. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we were not going to leave that guy
ate
alive.
his hand and left him. That's going to come back to haunt you. Okay, so that's the recap on Vanquished. We need to get into our picks of the week. Let's talk about some fucking comic books.
Yeah.
There are so many good books this week.
Okay, so is the spoiler tag still up?
Is the spoiler tag up right now? Is it up?
It is up. Let's keep it up.
Man, we've had.
It's gone now. Bring it back.
Has the bits thing been on the screen the entire time, or did it just get put up there?
What?
If it's been up there the whole time and nobody's been trying to. What's that? Oh, halfway through. I just noticed that it's an empty cup. That's really weird. We have an empty bit cup sitting there.
So we're just buying Humble Bundles.
That's true though. It's really fucking.
We got a lot of Humble Bundles today.
It's really fucking cool. So a quick reminder, since we just got done talking about Valiant Vanquished, if you want to catch up on the Valiant universe, a good book to catch up on with is Archer and Armstrong, which we read today, because that covers a lot of what we're doing on our show. Or Ivar the Time Walker, if you like what we just did.
Yeah, like time travel. I would say for what comes next, I don't know, but because of the nature of PRS and Black Block, like we just read, Archer and Armstrong and Bloodshot are going to be really useful for those. Archer and Armstrong will tell you all about the sect, and Bloodshot will tell you all about PRS. And also read Harbinger, because it's good.
So if you scroll down on the channel page and you click Catch Up on Valiant, that will take you to our Amazon affiliate page, where it will help us by you wanting to read those books. So if you want to check up, buy your books through our affiliate link. If there's something else that you guys are wanting to buy off Amazon, let Emily know and she'll send you an affiliate link. You want to get some toilet paper? Let Emily know and we'll send you an affiliate link for that toilet paper. You're welcome, Emily. All right. Okay, let's move on to books. Let's keep that spoiler tag up there. We're going to talk about Civil War II,
number 5.
Number 5. First thing I want to say from this book, how fucking obvious is it that this is just all of Brian Michael Bendis' babies getting together for a book?
I realized that reading this, especially at the end, I was like, okay. Now because
this is just Bendis' playground.
For a lot of this book, I've been thinking it would be better if Bendis didn't write it. Especially the beginning, I was like, this just sounds too much like Bendis, and I really didn't. The beginning, I really didn't like. It was just everybody was talking like Spider-Man, and nobody it just didn't feel any characterization, especially the Inhumans, which of course I care more about than literally anybody else.
You don't have to say
thank you for following.
Yeah.
And by the end, when the Miles thing happened, I was like, oh, I see. This is why it has to be Bendis, is because it's turned into the Bendis event. He just had to knock people off first.
A Bendis event.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff in there. I just thought it was funny.
This issue to me was just.
I was just like, this is literally just Bendis having stupid amount of fun.
And this issue specifically is just the slugfest. It's just superheroes fighting, and then at the end, kind of a thing happens. But I usually don't say this because I hate when people say this, but you could legitimately skip this book and understand the rest of the series.
You could.
Yeah, you could.
Granted, I mean, that's the nature of most fight scenes, and that's okay. It's still an awesome fight scene, and it's definitely worth reading.
Yeah. You should definitely check it out. It's, even though it creates a lot of new questions, I mean, basically what happened with, what's his name? the
Ulysses?
Ulysses there at the end creates a lot of questions, especially after the stuff that Tony figured out, that he can kind of have an effect based on his emotions on what it will look like and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we got the spoilers thing on screen, so we can go ahead and say
Let's talk about. So like I said, it's the whole thing is basically a slugfest. It's just the heroes fighting, and they also talk to each other. Your basic hero fight where they have kind of a philosophical discussion. They also punch each other. The Inhumans are weird, and then at the end, Ulysses does this weird thing where like his fingers start to glow and become like elongated, and he sends these weird like light things out to the Marvel Avengers and stuff. And then they all collectively, once again, see the same future. And again, if your spoiler tag is up there, this is the big spoil. This is the future that he saw. Shit. Miles Morales killing Captain America.
Shit.
So at this point, this is when I said, all right, I'm done. I'm not done reading, but done being invested, because there is none of me that is even a little bit worried about any character assassination happening to Miles Morales.
Nope.
If anybody's safe from being a bad guy, it's goddamn Miles.
You know what that did? What I thought when I saw that, I was like, if anything, this book is trying so hard to make Miles Morales the Marvel Spider-Man.
Yes, which granted,
Peter Parker shows up in a towel halfway through for one panel. He's not anywhere else in the book. Spider-Man has nothing to do with this book, but Miles Morales Spider-Man is a central figure, and I feel like this puts him center stage in the Marvel
and that's
universe.
great, but it also it means that basically we can know, especially because Ben is writing this, like we've known the whole time Tony is right, and now we really know because Carol at the end arrests Miles Morales, and when it's a superhero versus Miles, well, she's gonna try, but like Carol is on the other side of Kamala Khan and Miles Morales, and there's no way in 2016 Marvel's putting out a book where Miles and Kamala are both on the bad side. That's not gonna happen. And so, like, this is where they have really given away the game.
I feel like...
But I at least don't know how it's going to end or how they're going to put these genies back in these bottles.
There's like, okay, the thing is in the comic, as Ulysses starts to get more and more emotional, that's when the scene happens. And I almost feel like it's his subconscious trying to get these heroes to stop fighting. So I'm almost 100% sure the Vision is absolutely fake.
Yeah, and that's Tony's gonna probably find that out.
Yeah,
discover
because Miles isn't gonna kill Captain America.
Miles isn't gonna kill Captain America.
Like,
but,
yeah,
I mean,
Bruce Banner can die.
See, as Ulysses gets more and more emotional, the moment he starts crying is the moment these tentacles start shooting out of his hands, and then they wrap around the Avengers and they have the Vision. That being said, as a fangirl, there were moments in this comic I absolutely loved. And one of those moments was the second that this happens, Kamala...
Lots of good Iron Man moments, for sure.
Yeah, Iron Man moments, and then Kamala running to Miles at the end. She's like, that's not going to happen. It just won't.
That was sweet.
It was adorable, and you kind of just... You get to see that dichotomy. I can't wait to see the next issue when the page turns, because I don't think Kamala's going to let her take him. Let Carol take Miles. I don't see it happening. I think there's going to be a showdown.
I think that they're gonna let him take him because of the emotional. Oh, thank you, Stuffer!
Cheer!
I think they're gonna let him take him because of the emotional weight of what everyone saw and just went through. They're all gonna be stunned by it because they made them all feel that future, and I think they kind of showed everyone was just stunned at the end. I think it'll actually start the next book with them not fighting anymore and Tony doing everything he can to prove that it's his emotions that are affecting these visions and that it wasn't actually going to happen.
I think that you're right, except for I'm going with Bronzy on Kamala specifically, because you're right. They all witnessed that, but Kamala's first reaction was to deny it, was to say that's not going to happen.
Because that's been happening
so
in Kamala's own book, is she's been fighting Carol on this and saying you're wrong, and I think she's going to put her foot down, and I think she's going to be like, over my dead body. I think we're going to have that moment, because they're friends. They're like besties.
Well, what I thought was really interesting about that, too, in that vision, Bendis making it really clear all they saw is the result of something, not how it happened.
What led up to it.
Yeah, you don't see anything else other than a bloodied hand and him holding Cap. That's it. We don't know how it led to that, what actually happened. It creates a lot of questions and not answers, so...
We don't even know if he actually killed them.
But you know that Miles will give himself up. Like, you know that. The character that Miles is, he's just gonna say, take me, so...
There's a cool moment with magic.
With the,
Yeah. With
Magic.
Ileana.
We never get cool moments of Magic.
Well, I mean,
so it's nice.
I read a lot of X-Men, so I'm used to them. Hey, thank you
Yeah.
for that follow.
But it is nice to see Magic like treated as more than just Colossus' little sister in a book that's not an X-Men book.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I
cool.
read a lot of X-Men, so I get a lot of good Magic moments, especially whenever she started working with Scott 2 years ago, and that's the Magic I know and love, of just like far more formidable than anyone gives her credit for, just by removing someone from the battlefield, basically taking Captain America, Sam Wilson, just gone out of the fight. He's in Los Angeles now.
And it's meanwhile, it's like in the middle of him saying like, normally I have a thing about hitting ladies, and she just like opens a portal underneath his feet and is like, was that about ladies? And she like says that.
Which that was fun, but at the same time, that was part of this whole like event comics thing. Like, I like that line, except for that Sam Wilson has been around way, way too long to be making that joke. Like, you've been a superhero for like 50 years now. You've punched some women because you've understood that villainy is villainy. Like, that was a fun joke, but that was like, this joke will work even though the characters shouldn't be saying it. Like Black Panther in the first issue of Civil War. Like, Black Panther was being funny in a way that Black Panther shouldn't be. And it's just like this weird sort of like, this is a good event, except for it's just throwing me off the whole time. You know, event comics.
Well, it's not too much to talk about. I mean, we usually have more to talk about on this book, but in this particular situation, it was a battle comic, a vision at the end. I don't find myself caring as much as I should. Like, for this level of a story, like, I should be more emotionally attached.
Yeah.
But maybe because it is so, like, these are only Bendis' play toys that are communicating and having their moments, that I'm like,
There's also something to be said about, in the book, I don't feel like the stakes have been raised yet still. Like, I don't see there being...
Well, they did it at the beginning.
In the beginning, but then, like, we know that, like, okay, in Iron Man, there's going to be... Doom is going to be Iron Man, and Riri Williams, and Tony's going to give up, and, like, we know that all these new things are coming out after Civil War II, so I know that there are stakes, but I don't feel like that this book should be creating any of that yet. You know, we only have 3 issues left.
For me, the reason that this book doesn't have me like hook, line, and sinker is because there is no argument here. Tony's right, and Captain Marvel is wrong.
That's true.
And every one of these visions is making it increasingly clear, especially as a reader outside of the story.
Whereas,
like we said, we know Miles won't kill Cap.
Yeah, whereas with the Superhero Registration Act, you can argue for that. You can totally have a legit moral argument about it, you know? But with this, it's kind of just like Captain Marvel is being really unreasonable, and Tony is the voice of reason, and it really sucks that Captain Marvel's not just stopping.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm upset that people are following her. And I get that the only reason they are following her is they're taking her word because of her reputation, which is unfortunate, because her reputation shouldn't really be worth much right now, given what she's pulling.
Yeah, and a lot of people are just following her blindly. There's like, you're in charge, and especially when you know these people are fighting their friends, there should be more question.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Civil War II. It's going along. We'll probably have more to argue about next time it comes out, because there's more that happens, especially the fallout. I imagine when the next issue of Ms. Marvel comes out, Bronzy will be able to tell us how the fallout is in that, because I wonder if the fallout will be in number 6, or if we're going to kind of see that discussion between Kamala and Carol in one of their books this coming month, because it could go either way.
I haven't been reading too many of the side stories of Civil War because I'm not that interested. Usually with the Marvel event book, like Secret Wars, I read every single one, every single side story.
Yeah.
And it's tough with these events too, like you said, knowing that there's like one book left of Tony Stark as Iron Man, knowing that we're gonna have Ironheart coming up. You know, like, the problem with event books in these bigger companies like Marvel is you already know how things are gonna turn out. Like, we knew how Secret Wars was gonna turn out the second they released Solicitation 3 months before it even ended, and you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah, like they both said, oh, Secret Wars. Okay, so we learned that it ends nothing except for Fantastic Four. Thank you. And then as I was reading Secret Wars, I was just like, all right, just get me the last damn issue so I can move on and learn about what happened to Scott, which I didn't.
All right, well, we're gonna start talking about our picks of the week as we get towards the end here. My number one pick this week. So fucking excited by this book. I had no idea it was coming. I didn't know this book existed until Emily put it down in front of me last night, and I was flipping through, and I went, "Whoa, this cover's dope! Whoa, Rick Remender and Jerome! I'm gonna love this book." And sure enough, I fucking love this book. I am on a huge Rick Remender kick, and as far as number ones from Remender go, I like this even better than Tokyo Ghost. Like, holy shit, this blew me the fuck away. 7 to Eternity, number 1. Let me read you this little preview into the book. The God of Whispers has spread an omnipresent paranoia to every corner of the kingdom of Zal. His spies hide in every hall, spreading mistrust and fear. Adam Osiris, a dying knight from a disgraced house, must choose between joining a hopeless band of magic users in their desperate bid to free their world of an evil god, or accepting his promise to give Adam everything his heart desires. Okay, so the reason I like books like Birthright is that it sets up this fantasy world, and the Dark Tower series. It's like this fantasy world with these believable, grit fucking characters without all the pomp and circumstance and bullshit that so many fantasy stories take. This one's set in a whole nother fucking world with giant beasts and magic and all this other stuff, and it feels so good, so realized. Sometimes when you have world building that's really good, it's really confusing because they're just throwing names at you, they're throwing new creatures at you. And Remender weights it with such reality that even when these new characters come up and these new things and these new devices and this weird world that they've created, he grounds it so well that I'm never lost, I'm never confused, and I'm just on board every fucking page. Just flipping it to just every page, just be like, oh, the art is sick. You want to show them the difference in our covers?
Yeah.
So they released 5 different variant covers.
I wonder what the back of yours looks like now. Is yours blank? Because mine's like this really stark and blank.
Also stark and blank, 7 to Eternity.
That's kind of cute.
They're sick covers.
There's another 2 that I kind of wish I could get.
The character designs are dope. This just, I mean, look at this shit. Look at this shit.
It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. The color work is phenomenal. The characterization, it reminds me a lot of Stephen King-esque, like, it really does.
I love the stuff at the back, too. That's awesome.
I love when books have sketchbooks in the back.
Like, I love this panel, too. Did you get that far yet?
Oh, yes.
Like, the grandfather
dude with, like, blue eyes glowing.
And this dude, like, uses his little whistle to call up all these wolves that rise up out of the ground, because he's the god of the mud. So in different regions, people call this tyrant, this king, either the god of mud or the god of whispers, because apparently he can control both. Like, he can control the earth and the mud, and he can bring these creatures back to life from the ground, and his lair at the end is under the dirt. Like, he calls him there. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's beautiful. It's beautifully realized. It gets me extremely excited. Remender has been on a fucking roll with these new worlds that he's been creating. And I don't know how he's doing it. To go from something like Tokyo Ghost that was so well realized and so well characterized to immediately fucking like break into this. And he said in the back of the book that they've been working on it for almost 5 years with the story and like pulling it all together.
Oh yeah, the world building.
They both wanted to do a fantasy book together so they could do anything, and then they realized, oh, we can't just do anything. Thank you, Outbarity, too. And so they created their own rules and their own physics and their own like government for this world. So extremely great. I loved it. I can't recommend this book enough. Definitely putting it on my pull list immediately when I go to pick up the last issue of Tokyo Ghost from my comic book store from last week. So Remender just like going off one book and then fucking getting me hooked on another one. That's it. That's my shit. That's it. I'm done. You guys can. All right, Bronze. What you got?
You go
Here we go.
See, I got a weird sort of selection of things. Like, I don't know what I want to pull because there are things that like. I have like 2 different pairs of comics that thematically like go together, and then there was Britannia, which was like really good, but I don't know if it's my pull of the week.
That was me too. I really like Britannia, but I don't know if it's my pull.
I'm gonna cheat and talk about 3 things real fast instead of one thing. All right.
Oh shit.
Go.
One thing is just Batman and Nightwing both came out this week. Batman number 7 and Nightwing number 5. It is the beginning of the Night of the Monster Men crossover, which is being mostly written by Steve Orlando. He's kind of co-writing all of these books. It's Batman number 7. But the only thing I want to show you is the monsters just look fucking awesome. Basically there's Doctor Strange did some stuff in some past issues with some people that killed themselves, and now they've come back. Their dead bodies have become giant monsters. So there's like this guy, this giant fucking eye thing.
Night of the Monster Men.
Night of the Monster Men, which there's a pretty popular Batman book called Batman and the Monster Men, which is kind of the definitive Hugo Strange book. So there's like giant eye thing, and then there's this weird giant bat with a huge dick neck thing going on.
Dick neck.
Yeah, I mean, come on, look at that. That's a giant bat with a big old dick neck thing.
That's a dick neck.
So that's a Batwoman and Nightwing. So that was really cool, and I like crossover. I like crossovers like this, and then I liked Green Lanterns and Superman because those were both just days with the family. Superman took his wife and son to the fair and promised not to be Superman while he was there, which of course, you know, something happened and he had to like pretend to be Superman, and Lois got mad at him at the end. And in Green Lanterns, Simon has his family over for dinner, and Jessica comes and like meets them and spends the day with them. And because of her anxiety, she has a lot of issues with the family thing. Kind of gets on it. This comic has gotten way better since it started.
Yeah, well, back when you guys both abandoned me and it was me and AJ on the show, we both talked about how much we hated that comic for 15 minutes.
Wow.
Really?
I just can't stand Jessica Cruz because it's just her freaking out and it's Simon Baz yelling at her, and that's the comic, and that's what it's been for. Like,
it is not
7
that
issues,
anymore. It really, the first 6 issues,
frustrating.
I would read it all in trade because it's about them learning to work together and about them having to figure out the thing.
Because it's just her being like, I can't do this. I'm having a breakdown.
Well,
I can't do this. And it's Simon being like,
you're
useless.
She has very
it's
severe agoraphobia and anxiety. So yeah, it's difficult for her.
It's hard to read though. It's hard to read. I don't like, you know me. I'm there's facets of glitch inside me. I don't like patheticness, and I don't like having a pathetic superhero, which I think is the point. I don't think you're supposed to, but I'm just like, you're pathetic. Pull yourself together, woman. That's what I usually end up.
I like growth, and that's what Jessica does.
I do too.
So
I like growth.
But no, I mean you're right. She's not, especially if you're a Green Lantern fan. Like this is a different Green Lantern book than one I've ever read. It's got more humor in it.
And that's why we have 2 Lantern books.
And Green Lanterns are all, you know, the most hard-headed people in the universe. They all have no fear, which is not like cool. You're a little fucked up if you have that little fear, especially if you're like Guy and Hal, who are like, you know, white guys with good lives who don't have as much reason to, you know, have no fear and haven't been through as much. So they're just like a little tweaked. Like John and Simon make more sense to me.
Yeah.
And make sure you guys in the chat room let us know, while we're talking about our pulls of the week, let us know what you're picking up at your local comic book shop today, and if we have any influence over that at all. But keep the conversation going.
So anyway, it's 2 fun issues. Both Superman and Green Lantern are just fun days with the family, little one-shots.
I might
I like
have to
them.
look at it. Oh, maybe I'll give Jessica Cruz another chance.
She's better in this than she is in Justice League, but that's because Justice
good.
League is just bland.
Justice League was not great. I don't like that book.
I like Brian Hitch when he's drawing, and I'm not a huge fan of his writing. Justice League came out. It's just Britannia, not Britannica. All right, so Britannia came out today.
Yes. Yes.
Is that your poll of the week, or do you want to talk about something like Raven first?
Which they didn't even carry.
I have a couple different polls, but this is one of them for me. This comic basically covers about 15 years of history in the Roman Empire, and it centers around a character who is kind of a detective. I think they call him a detector.
Yeah, they call him the Detector.
The Detector.
He's like the first detective, basically. It's like the year, it opens in like 60 BC. And then there's a few time jumps throughout the book.
And it's kind of interesting because in the very beginning of the book, we have this sort of exchange that happens where one of the Vestals, who kind of are these seers that rule the Roman Empire, they're even more powerful than the king in some cases. They task our detector with going on a mission and retrieving one of them. And while there, he gets exposed to like basically this demon in a cave, and it really fucks him up. Like he goes a little crazy, and they cure him with like sex and blood baths and making him read the crazy codex that makes him even crazier.
The codex is interesting because what the codex is supposed to be the rules of like why men work, and basically he says in this that like people thought that men do things because of God or destiny or whatever, and what he learns is there's things like cause, effect, and motive, and what essentially he learns in this codex is he's the first psychologist.
Yep, and the codex is like forbidden. Like the Vestals guard it with their lives. And long story short, because there's a lot in this book.
It's a dense book.
It ends with him being sent forcefully on a crazy journey to this foreign area of Britannia. And when he's there, the first thing he encounters is this same sort of demon that he wasn't even sure was real, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a thing in the beginning where, like, I guess we'll put at the end, but yeah, like it all sort of comes back, and in the beginning they tell you the way the Roman Empire works is there's, Rome and kind of the surrounding regions, and the Roman Empire expanded north into what we now know as Europe, and they called that region Britannia. So basically Britannia is kind of the new wild, it's ancient Rome's Wild West.
Yes.
That's what we're in, basically, is the Wild West of 60 BC.
Yep.
Interesting.
And you find out that the Vestals kind of orchestrated the whole freaking thing. They trained this guy to go there.
There's
and
definitely
deal with
that
this
whole
demon
Valiant
creature.
Comics. There's more to this story than you know.
And I mean, the creature,
thing.
like, apparently just the smell will drive you insane, and it looks like something out of Cthulhu. It looks fucking weird, and apparently it smells like
death.
it smells like some crazy
And
shit.
it's neat. Let me look at this last the pages after this, because we mentioned the Vestals, the Vestal Virgins.
Oh
they're
yeah,
called.
they have actual.
There is
information.
actual this is written by Dr. Karen Kleiber-Hirsch, the associate professor in the Department of Greek and Roman Classics at Temple University. So a professor of classics at Temple wrote this whole little thing about the true Vestals of Rome, and it's a couple pages of textbook basically at the end of this book.
Which is awesome.
So yeah, like with this, the Black Monday Murderers, we're giving you really dense books to read with like a lot of extra information.
You can actually learn about history reading this.
And there's also some people getting down.
There's a lot of people getting down on this.
It's got a lot of things in it. Yeah.
So I know you were on the fence too, because there were a couple other books that came out this week that you really liked. What was one of your other picks?
Well, I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse. I really like Mechanism this week. I've been liking this book every week, and it's basically about these creatures called geckos who are taking over the Earth. And there's this robot that they've kind of programmed, or to help them, but he's still learning. So he just stands around silently while different people are trying to explain things to him. So this is actually one of my favorite comics. It's really lovely, and I just really like it. And then the other one, I know I haven't had a DC pick in like forever. The other one was Raven.
Raven number one.
Raven number one. I actually
Wolfman
really like
himself.
this book. It's Raven who's gone to live with her aunt, so it's the other side of the family. And these are like what she calls muggles. They're non-magical people. And so she...
Wait, does she actually use the word muggle in that book? Oh
yes,
my
she
god.
calls them muggles in her own words. And so she's sort of going back to school, and Power Girl has created a false identity for her. And so she's kind of... It's almost a little bit like a Kamala Khan story, because she's a little bit struggling with her identity, and she's also still figuring out her powers, and everyone's really judgmental of her because she dresses really goth, and at one point she considers blowing their brains out with her magic, and she decides that that's evil, and she shouldn't blow their brains out. But she does convince a group of teenage girls into thinking they're pregnant.
Wow!
And they freak out like, oh my god, and they have like these giant tummies, and then she's like, and then she says something like, tell me goth is still last season again, or something like that, or she says like, last season my ass, but someone's like, being goth is so last season, or something like that. So.
Which sounds like something a man in his 40s would write about something teenagers would say these days.
And
That's true.
Let's point out, let's keep in mind though, when he invented the characters in 1980, he was a man in his 30s, right? Like, Marv Wolfman is not a young man. And this is like, I mean, Chris Claremont is still writing X-Men to this day. There are, I mentioned Giffen and DeMatteis.
He's kind of writing X-Men.
Yeah.
I read those and I'm like, dude, just stop.
Yeah.
They're-
But like Giffen and DeMatteis have been writing since the 70s, and they still write some of my favorite books. Like I thought Sugar and Spike and Justice League 3000 were absolutely brilliant. Marv Wolfman is definitely like he and like Len Wein, I think, are like trying to grasp the new writing styles, but it looks like it's a wordier book than
This
you
one?
usually see.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the Wolfman effect, but at least he doesn't try to put his Titans back into 1980. Wolfman actually keeps up with his characters and like tries to continue them, whereas Chris Claremont is just always bitter about what they've done to his X-Men.
Yeah, he always gives them the voice they used to have, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. Another big book that came out this week was Vision.
That's only like one issue left, right?
It was good. Vision straight up kicks the ass out of the Avengers.
Nice.
So he can kill his brother.
Wow.
And the way that progresses is really interesting because the whole time you're kind of on his side, and it's again a book filled with philosophy and what it means to be human. And then, just as he was created, he created his wife, and her actions are what led to all of these things, and how disconnected and detached she is by her actions, you can tell is having an effect on him. So him doing whatever it takes to protect his family and then seeing how far his family will go to just keep making things normal on what they know as normal. Really good book. Again, every episode or every issue of Vision is just phenomenal. It's just fucking phenomenal. I can't say anything bad.
Tom King's really good at writing.
It's killing it. There was a bunch of other books. I didn't get a chance to read Thor, but I'm going to. It's on my list this week.
A lot of didn't get a chance to, but I'm going to today.
Yeah, because there was just a lot of good stuff.
I want to show you guys 3 pages from this book. I've not read this book, but this is Trinity. It's about Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And I'll just throw you these pages because it's drawn by Francis Manapul, and he's absolutely amazing. So there's your beautiful Wonder Woman splash. There's your beautiful Batman splash, and he uses watercolors to color them. And he's writing and drawing this book. And there's your beautiful Superman splash.
That's a really good splash page right there.
Yeah, this is really good. Yeah, the paneling is really interesting. I'm really excited to read this. Francis Manapul did that Flash run that people were like, here's Rainbow Batman from the Silver Age and little old Dick with his little dick shorts. It's good. It's good. So yeah, Trinity, I'm really excited to read about.
Jorts.
Dick Jorts?
Well, no, we'll just call them Jorts.
Okay.
What?
Well, you're not even wearing jorts today. Get out of here.
Mister, I'll wear jorts all winter long, and for the last week he's been wearing jeans. I'm doing laundry. Someday.
Wait, are you seriously gonna wear jorts all winter long? That's
bad
for you.
The Wicked and Divine 1831 did come out today. Did not check it out. I did not get a chance to check that one out. It wasn't in our pull list here. But anyway, that's kind of all the time we have. It's been a long...
it's been a nice long show. So a lot of time talking about lots of things.
So remember, we have the Discord channel, Graphic Content. You can also join the Graphic Content page on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. You can find me at Aren't We Clever.
That Bronze Girl Games.
And,
I was going to flip that up, but I didn't.
And I'm at BJGN Spicoli.
Right, so continue those questions. Send us what you're picking up. Take pictures. If you pick up Valiant books, remember to tag Hyper RPG and Valiant. Let them know what you're reading and how much fun you've had with it. That all goes a really long way. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in, checking out Graphic Content. Coming up next is watching Paint Dry, where we will be painting the King Crab today.
Which will then
the Destroyer of Worlds, basically. The Destroyer of fucking worlds with 2 AC-20s on it.
Friday's going to be so fucking intense.
You know what? I just learned some surprises for DFA on Friday, and I'm so excited.
Oh, shit.
I'm so excited.
Oh, man. It's going to be a good
episode. It's going to be the season finale. Holy shit.
Yeah. It's a big week on Hyper RPG.
Always. It's always a big week.
That's a good point.
Jesus. Man, always a big week.
This week we finished Volume 2 of Vanquish. Next week we'll start Volume 3. We got season finale of DFA. All kinds of exciting shit.
Yeah.
Good times. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you.